Calling our special city council meeting together at 6 o'clock, March 19th, 2020. And just so everybody's aware, we will be conducting the entire meeting in here. We have taken into consideration the CDC recommendations, guidelines, mandates, whatever you want to call them, for social distancing. That's why we're split like we are. We are going to be directing our citizens into the chamber and have them sit separate. Hey, Patrick.
Hey.
Just getting underway. Saying that we will conduct the entire meeting in here tonight. We have our social distancing as best as possible, and we'll be directing our citizens into the chamber where they can sit, and we will live broadcast into the chamber. When it comes time for citizens input, which is next on the agenda, if anyone is out there, we will invite them to come in here. They'll be free to come in. Stay 6 feet away from Kevin. Have their 2 minutes to speak, and they can go back into the chamber. We have our guest attorney with us tonight. Mr. Hager is consumed elsewhere. It's Shelby, was it right?
Shelby Piercy.
Shelby Pierce.
And I have been here before, it's just been over a year, so.
Okay.
Probably why.
Well, I slept a couple times since then too. Okay, so Shelby will be our attorney for record tonight. A couple other things in terms of just some housekeeping. If you intend to be here a short time tonight, kind of don't depend on leaving early. I spoke with Kevin, that what we are about to go over tonight in terms of our order and our resolution, whatever we're going to be doing, this is all on us. Everything up until now, we have been using basically a template coming down from the county. And it's been fairly easy to go ahead and just put the city of Duncanville, my name, and plug it in and change things to make it peculiar to the city of Duncanville. Tonight is different. There's still a template that we're coming off with, but now this is all ours. County is not involved in what we do from this point forward. Unless something comes down, if Clay Jenkins, I hear he may be on the news tonight, if he extends their declaration, that will be something that will affect us as well. Tonight, we're going to make a very serious decision on the content of our order and our declaration and the extension of it, the timeline. So, as I'm saying, that I'm a detail kind of guy, so I think it would be best for all of us. This is the first time any of us are seeing what's been prepared for us, because things have been happening so fast, minute by minute. So it's my intent to read everything line by line with you, not to skim it, not to assume anything. We're just going to read all through everything as we go, and so everybody is completely understood what we're doing. Okay. Is there anybody out there?
I did not see anybody in the audience.
Okay, well, I will just do item number 2 on the agenda, citizens input pursuant to section 551.007 of the Texas State Code. Any member of the public has the opportunity to address the council on any matter of public business or any posted agenda item. What we do as a city, we do enforce a 2-minute time frame. And if there's anybody out there that wishes to address the council, please come out of the chamber, come around, feel free, and come into our briefing room. One more check.
There's no public there, just Richard, and he said he didn't want to speak.
Not that I let him in. Okay. All right, so we're closing item number 2, seeing as no citizen input. Moving on to item number 3. Item 3A, items for individual consideration. Consider a resolution extending a mayoral declaration of a state of emergency and order as a result of the COVID-19 virus, providing for interim public safety measures, repealing all resolutions in conflict, providing a severability clause, and providing for an effective date. Now, what I think before we move into those particular items, I want to ask Mr. Hugman to give us a rundown on what's been happening in the city in terms of how the staff has been taking direction and understanding what's been going on and how everything's been flowing down. So Kevin, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And then also I'll add to that we will want to talk about some other items related to this emergency prior to getting into the order, in case some of those things that you decide need to be reflected in that order. So we will also want to talk about upcoming events and meetings for the next couple of months that need to be postponed or canceled or held, board commission meetings, and then election information as well to get direction from the council. Again, those may have some impact on that order. But as the mayor has asked me, I would like to brief you all on what we have been doing. As you can imagine, the last week has been extremely busy for the staff. For most of us, almost every department has been involved in this response to some extent or another. Obviously, fire, police, fire, especially Tanya, has been extremely involved, very deeply involved. Our office has been very deeply involved in it, and building inspections, health inspector as well. But I want to kind of go through the things that we've been doing and where we're at today. And I have provided you a memo, but I'll walk through that if you have any questions for me. As we reported to you last Friday, we closed the senior center on that day based on the guidance at the time with especially the high-risk population of seniors being together in one area. We did make arrangements with our provider to be able to provide hot meals for all of the seniors. That is going smoothly. We are providing approximately 35 to 45 meals per day at curbside pickup, and we're delivering about 15 meals a day to those seniors who previously depended on the senior center for transportation to the center. We do have the capacity to expand our meals. We have verified with our provider that we can expand on those meals up to probably about 150 a day. We can also expand our delivery if we need to. So we're going to start getting that information out. Obviously, we can't be overwhelmed, but we do know that if there are other seniors who have needs for meals, we can accommodate them.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, are any staff members involved with providing the seniors meals?
Yes, it is our staff that are providing them. They come to us from the contractor in coolers, ready to eat, and then we are the ones that are taking them to curbside to provide them to the seniors.
Can you share, not necessarily names, but just how many staff members are involved with that effort?
I don't know.
It varies?
I think it varies. I don't know for sure. I mean, I know the full-time staff, or we have a couple of full-time staff at the senior center, so they're involved in it, and we're using some part-time staff as we need to. But I don't know how many are actually involved in it, but we can find out.
Oh, well, I just asked because I'd like to get a sense of how much of an effort outside of the normal duties this is putting on staff.
My question was to VNA, I guess. It's still a 2-day notice for them to increase the number of meals?
That's correct. I think it's two days for them to get on the list so that they can prepare and have the proper number of meals. VNA has relaxed they also have to sign up for the program and be registered into the program, but VNA has relaxed that. They're taking those registrations immediately over the phone now and going ahead and putting them onto the list. So it is, they're accommodating that quicker, or not the normal process.
Right.
The staff protect.
They're still paying $1 or is it free?
It's free for seniors over 60 and if you have a disability.
Oh.
So, and, or?
Or.
So it's staff just wearing gloves, going to the doors and handing
I
it to them?
don't know for sure. I mean, they're sealed up, so the meals are sealed.
All right, so right now you said you're not running short with staff being able to deliver meals?
No.
Would you let us know if you are, in case there's volunteers such as myself like to go?
Moving on then, as I reported to you earlier in the week also, we've made the decision to close the recreation and the rec center and the field house on Monday, March 16th. We've notified all of those who had reservations in March that they've been canceled and told them that April reservations may also be canceled. Our staff, most of the part-time staff is off now. We were using a couple of them on some projects, and we're also taking the opportunity to clean the facilities. Library also closed Monday, March 16th.
Well, I'm sorry, one quick question. The staff that is off, are we paying the staff members that's off?
No.
They're taking their vacation days or anything, or just not paying that off?
Part-time staff don't really have benefits, so they are off right now.
So how many part-time staff are we not
I
paying, doing it?
don't know the number. So again, we're filling in as we need to with some of them are still working, some of them are not. And their hours varied. Some of them work few hours, some of them work more than 20. I don't have those numbers right now. So we're still kind of working through all of that.
So they're encouraged to go file for unemployment?
Yes, they can file for unemployment. And there are some federal laws right now. We're still trying to wade through to figure out how that impacts.
Texas Workforce Commission is online with this, but they are the source.
Yeah, and they
Well,
have
that's what we
relaxed,
should
they
have
relaxed,
They are the source
relaxed
for
unemployment.
anything to do with
from
this,
what I hear.
and you can go to the Texas I was listening to a brief earlier today, and Texas Workforce, they're overloaded. In fact, it was on the news tonight that their site crashed because of the every overload that came online later this afternoon. But any questions you might get from citizens about that, our own people, employees, Texas Workforce Commission and federal laws in terms of how they're coming down from the hill are going to have to be understood. So we'll leave the understanding of that to the experts until.
Yeah, that's what I read and heard as well. I just want to make sure our staff knew that.
Yeah.
Also with the library staff is working on and has started providing curbside pickup of books. So there are set hours for that, but people can call in, reserve a book, and then come and pick it up at curbside.
I thought that was great.
All of our other facilities are open for business as usual. We are seeing a decrease in traffic in City Hall, especially in the court area. We are stressing the social distancing with staff and with customer interaction. We have increased, as we said from the very beginning, we increased the cleaning efforts in all of our facilities and posted notices around the buildings. The parks and playgrounds are open, and we intend to keep them open following the guidelines. There are some cities that are closing parks and playgrounds. We've had a lot of discussion about it, and we're keeping up with the national and the state Parks and Recreation Association. Right now, most cities are keeping their parks and playgrounds open, and we feel that that is an appropriate thing to do. I think people need to have an outlet. But we are also, again, stressing the social distancing and the community gathering. Of course, the social recreational gathering piece of the judge's order will also come into effect now in parks as well.
So if you have more than 35 people or 50 people or 10?
Essentially more than 10, if they're clustered together, it should not be occurring. Now, if they're spread out.
According to the governor today, you will not.
Right, right.
It's a
Groups
prohibition.
of, clusters of 10 or more are prohibited by the order.
Yeah,
That's
by the
correct.
order today.
Yeah, but again, it's that
We can
clustering.
change that and say whether parks are open or not. Because it's city to city.
Imagine, well, yeah, if we want to talk about parks, but we're just talking right now about the social gathering of 10 or more.
Right, but usually with
10.
kids, they usually get together. They don't, not play
Using the right
together.
language, a social gathering of not more than 10 is the language.
I understand.
Can't
I'm
say 10 or
saying.
more. It's prohibited. Say, what's permitted is a social gathering of 10 or less. Okay.
Children normally clump together.
On the police side, we have established some protocols for the police. The chief has promulgated some different directives to the police on how they make contact with various individuals, their use of personal protective equipment, and how they should coordinate with EMS when necessary, depending on their contacts. They are also working very closely with the Sheriff's Department on arrests and that. And some requests from the Sheriff's Department as far as how we handle those. Sworn personnel have been directed, sworn personnel who are not assigned to patrol have been directed by the chief to have uniforms ready and their equipment ready in case they need to be assigned to patrol. We've temporarily suspended all the volunteer programs and meetings. And then the Ellis Davis Fieldhouse, you may have seen on the news, is going to be stood up as a drive-through testing facility. It will be a regional facility, with the other one being the American Airlines Center parking garage.
I missed the first one, Kevin. What was it?
The Ellis Davis Fieldhouse, it
Which
is
is
on
where?
at I-20 at Hampton.
It's actually
on
Polk
Polk South.
Way, so it's
Polk
South.
9191 South Polk.
The big football
Yeah.
field.
Polk and
So if you're
I-20.
familiar, there's a Jesse Owens Memorial, so that's the football field, and then the Ellis
Next to
Davis is
Halsey.
the indoor basketball facility.
Next to Halsey. Yeah.
So that will be a regional testing facility, so we will be asked to provide some security with police to help staff that center. We are talking with, we're looking at trying to use the city marshal to help with that, to reduce the impact on the police department, and we're also going to talk with the ISD police chief to see if they could help supplement. We don't know what their tasking is right now, though, so I don't know if that's a possibility or not, but we will support the Ellis Davis Fieldhouse, but again, we'll look for other resources that would reduce the impact on our PD. On fire, again, the fire chief has issued protocols to minimize the number of EMS personnel who may come in contact with a potential COVID-19 patient. And so they are minimizing that by allowing only one person to go in to actually work with the patient in full PPE. And then if they have to transport them, then that would be the rest of them. But they're working to, again, so that we don't end up with a potential contamination of a full crew or squad. We're also working with Southwest Regional, DeSoto, and Cedar Hill fire departments to provide one paramedic at the dispatch center, so that when 911 callers call in, the dispatcher will walk through their normal question protocol with them, but if they get to a point where it becomes that it might be a potential COVID-19 patient, they will turn it over to the paramedic, who will then go through that questioning protocol with them that is specific to that, and then be able to coordinate with the response units, the responders on that. The regional emergency management coordinator, Tanya Hunter, is here. She's been very busy, as you can imagine, working with all of the cities, working with the county, city of Dallas, emergency management, and others on the regional coordination from EMS and emergency management standpoint. She's also been very helpful to all of us as the city managers. I've been on daily text conversations and conference calls with my counterparts in Lancaster, DeSoto, and Cedar Hill. And Tanya has been a very big help to us as well in providing us information and documentation that we need. Our PIO, April, has been very good, helpful, and been very involved in ensuring that we have updated communications on our website and social media, making sure that we have communication going out to employees on what we're doing and what they need to do to keep everyone calm. At the end of this, what I'll do is I'll ask April to quickly show you our website and what information is out there. We also recognize that there is a lot of information being put out to the public. We're getting a lot of information. I have about 100 unopened emails every day now in my inbox.
Well, from me.
A lot of them are, I wasn't gonna say that, Tanya, but a lot of them are from Tanya. But we're getting a lot of information, and some of it is coming, the same information, but coming from multiple sources, but that's okay. It just shows that everyone is trying to communicate, and we are as well, but we're also trying to be sensitive to not overloading the public, because we know they're getting a lot of stuff, so we're trying to keep that Duncanville centric. But anyway, I will ask April to quickly show you that.
Okay, great.
Mayor and Council, I wanted to just kind of show you my cell phone. So from Duncanville.com on a cell phone, at the top you'll see that bright red banner. That's going to take any stakeholder who's visiting our website straight to our COVID-19 webpage, which you can also see up here on the screen, but I wanted to point that out from a mobile device. That's what it looks like. So we've developed a web page that we stood up last week. It links directly from the home page. On the left-hand side, you can see COVID-19 resources, where we link back to Dallas County Health and Human Services, the Texas State Health Services, and then the CDC website. We've got the COVID-19 hotline for Dallas County right there, easily accessible. And then that's our main event calendar. scroll down a little bit. So we're pushing the public to look at that event calendar to get updated on events, classes, programs, meetings that might be canceled. That's their source to find that type of information. Above the fold here in the center is our main messaging. Again, we revert back to Dallas County Health and Human Services as our source for information and guidance as we move our way through this health crisis. We are pushing people to use the website as an online self-service portal versus coming into City Hall. So we've got a lot of information about web services that are available. As you can see, we've created collapsible drop-down services, so free hot lunches provided for seniors is already live and on the website. So people can come and get this information, and these graphics are being shared on social media, so we're consistent across the website and our social presence as well. As you can see, there's various information being pulled up, and this is hourly. I touch this website every hour. As far as notices, press releases coming from Dallas County, the mayor's disaster declaration, for example, we've categorized those into posts. So these are also populating on our homepage as well. You can see there's been quite a bit of activity. Anytime, well, every day Dallas County updates us with the number of cases, COVID-19 cases in the county. Those press releases are going up on our website. We're Facebooking and tweeting that information to keep our stakeholders in the loop on what's happening related to Duncanville. So if you've got questions from your citizens and within your district, please point them to the website. The URL is duncanville.com/COVID-19. And that's going to take them straight to this page. There's also graphics down here that they can grab if they wanted to share it themselves, as well as CDC guidelines for how to protect themselves. And again, we're always linking back to CDC and the Denton County Health and Human Services Department for more information.
Dallas County.
Yeah, what did I say? Dallas. Excuse me.
Move forward.
So, any questions?
Are they also calling the phone a lot since they not used to using the website? Are we getting inundated with phone calls?
We are getting phone calls. And they're going to various departments, which is why our internal communications is so important. We've sent out talking points so that our staff know exactly what to tell folks who call.
Would it be possible to add the TWC link to the resource up there in the corner?
Absolutely.
I think it'd be important for what's going on. A lot of people are losing jobs.
I think what we'll probably want to do also is to look at is creating a resource page with a number of other things. The Duncanville Outreach Ministry, I talked with Linda Miley yesterday, and we want to, she said that they have resources available, they're doing okay, they have resources, and we want to be able to, we routinely refer people there, but we will increase those referrals as we need to, in this time. So I think there's some things we can do to also to kind of lump all of these different resources together in one place on our page there too.
Does your whole message refer them back to the website while they're holding waiting on a staff member? You can refer them back to the webpage?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, it refers you to the webpage.
Stuff like, like Mudhook is serving free lunches to the kids that, through, I don't know if that's something you would want to, but any of the kids that are going to school that had free lunches that don't have lunch right now, they're given free lunches. They're raising money to do that, so they're not all given that, but just FYI, I don't know if that's worth.
Mudhook is distributing, or they're raising money?
They're actually cooking them the lunches, giving them to them kids. They're committed to do it.
I think that's on the ISD webpage.
The what?
The ISD, the school district website.
They're giving them away. He's taking some donations to help him do that, but he's actually committed to doing it till forever. I mean, I guess right now for any kids that don't have those free lunches right now.
Till forever for right now.
Till he runs out of money.
Until his resources run out.
Until he runs, yeah.
Okay, so continuing on then, health inspector and code enforcement with the order on Monday for restaurants to cease in-house dining. We began Tuesday morning, our health inspector and code enforcement officer, senior code enforcement officer, visiting those restaurants to make sure that they knew and were aware of the orders, and providing them, April worked with them to be able to provide them some written information and a sign that they could post on their place of business, referring to the Dallas County order and so forth. As we expected, we were getting great compliance. We've gotten great compliance from the restaurants. A lot of them were already knew what they needed to do and were already putting tables up and things like that. And then we have continued then to work with them, answer questions. There's been a lot of questions from businesses as to how the order applied, different scenarios, and so we've been working with them on that. Our court, municipal court, the judge.
Wait a minute, on the health inspector, I don't know if this is at the point to bring it up or not, but I was contacted by a restaurant who was requesting that we ease code during this time on signs on the sidewalk and put, so that they could put something out and say that we're open, please call and order your food.
Actually, that is a great idea, and that's one of the things we want to talk about in the order, is allowing that flexibility for us to do that, to waive that for those restaurants. So yes, it is a great idea, and I think
I'm already in favor of that as well.
so when we talk about the order, we'll get to that as one of the things that we've added in here to allow that.
And they said that they totally understood and agreed that it was temporary under the health crisis.
Yeah.
I'll add some anecdotal information. Because of the order of not having any in-house dining, I did a tour of all of our fast food restaurants the other night at 6 o'clock for dinner. I wasn't able to go for breakfast. I think breakfast was planned a little different. The only place I missed was the Whataburger on Duncanville and 20. Other than that, I hit every single one of them just to see what traffic looked like. Popeyes, the one up there by Costco, had 9. Papa's, which surprised me, only had 5 for dinner. And the Casa View Tacos had 6. McDonald's only had 4 in line.
You're talking about, oh, in the
The
drive-thru?
one on, yeah, through the drive-through, yeah, through the drive-through. And the Whataburger on Camp Wisdom also had 9. Those were the 2 highest that we had of all fast food restaurants in the city. The rest of them were like 1, 2, 0. So you're seeing the effect of the information and the communication that's coming down. Like, go home, stay home. Yes, we are serving food if you want to sit in the drive-through or however you want to work it, but it's out there. I think there's evidence by what's happening with our restaurants at 6 o'clock in the evening for dinner time.
I think there'd have to be a world war before Camp Wisdom Whataburger didn't have a line. They're always packed.
It's always been.
Always.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ken, I just wanted to pass that on.
No, thank you. Municipal court, the judge has suspended all cases until May. As you probably know, Dallas County has done the same.
We don't have anything to do with that, do we?
No, this is
It's all
just
his,
our order.
it's all his order in terms of what he does.
Correct, yes, sir. And even, I don't remember if it was Friday, I think it was Friday that he suspended March dockets because of concern of being able to get a jury pool. And then with the changes in the guidelines this week, just went ahead and he suspended all of April's dockets. On personnel status, just to kind of give you an update too on where we stand with our personnel, and we had been discussing this before this really hit as to how we would address it or how being prepared for staffing shortages if we do. But right now, knock on wood, we're doing pretty good. But I did want to update you on where we stand. We do have one employee on a 14-day self-quarantine at home. She recently returned from a trip to Spain. Spain is on the CDC's list of countries that you're supposed to self-quarantine. That she is feeling fine, and that she has one more week to go. We have 2 employees that are on self-quarantine at home because their spouses are exhibiting symptoms consistent with COVID-19. Which they are having fevers and aches, but as of the latest that I know, they have not gotten any test results back, so we don't know for sure. but we're telling the employees stay at home with their spouse.
They have been tested.
They have been, one of them was tested, one of them could not get a test at least a couple of days ago. I don't know if they've been able to now. I know the testing kits are increasing throughout the state. We have one employee that has a significant risk, or is at a significant risk because of their health. And that employee we're allowing to work at home. The work that they do is easily done at home, and we just told that person go ahead and stay at home for now. We had an employee today that had a significant customer interaction. We sent her home for precaution. She's not running a fever or anything, but she was feeling very tired and fatigued. She has allergies in the past, maybe that, and maybe also that she's just been very overworked lately. She's been one of our key people. And we just went ahead and told her to go home today, and we'll check back with her tomorrow to see how she's doing. And then we've had a few employees that have moderate risk to exposure. We're trying to work with them. We've moved them. We're trying to reduce their customer interaction as much as possible, moving them away from the counters, stressing to them the hygiene and things like that. Right now, that is, as far as I know, where it stands with our employees. We have had a couple of child care related issues with employees as well, and we're trying to work with them, allowing them to work from home as much as possible. And several of them are employees that can work from home. We have not, right now, have had anyone that is like a field employee, but I think we're going to see that coming up, so we're trying to get ahead of that.
So let me go back to the other question I had again for the other ones. Are we paying the employees that's out?
But if they're working from home, they are working, they're paid.
But if
yes.
they're not working from home?
We don't have anyone right now working that is not working from home. If they are not able to work at home and they need to take time off for child care, then they will use accrued leave.
Okay, so like the 14-day one and the employee with self-quarantine?
Yeah, those are all, the one that's on self-quarantine is working from home as well.
Okay. All right, thanks.
We are working, it's a good question as far as how we're going to address this, though we are working on draft policies to how we deal with employees for accrued leave if they're quarantined or have child care issues. And so we are looking at allowing them to go negative in their balances. Talking with the other cities, that's kind of what they're doing as well. Now, as I said too, with the guidance on the Family First bill that was passed by the House and Senate, it appears that it allows or requires 2 weeks of paid leave for child care or quarantine. So we're trying to figure that out, and that obviously will be a cost to us. We don't know what that impact will be yet, but we're still trying to wade through the different parameters of it. It looks like there's some different levels, employees pay, etc. But we'll incorporate those within our policy as well. So again, we're trying to be consistent with our employees and trying to be flexible. So that is kind of where we're at today, and I will, I'm working to try to provide you all an update every couple of days on similar to this, if things are changing.
Okay. Next thing we probably want to take a look at is, I think it's on your tables, is the calendar of events.
Yeah, go ahead. I'd like to say, Kevin, I want to thank you and the staff and everybody. This is a nice list, and obviously Art that needs to work, so I want to compliment y'all as well for taking these standards.
Thank you. It's been a great, again, we have a great team, and it's certainly been everybody that's been stepping up.
And especially for being very conservative, taking no precaution. I mean, if somebody's sick, you're gone. You think you're sick, you're gone.
On a calendar then, we have already, as we've mentioned, we've postponed or canceled some of the imminent events, but all of these that are in yellow, and it might be easiest just to start from where we are today on the 19th and then work through them. We have canceled, Best Southwest was canceled. Duncan Switch this weekend has been canceled. We postponed the Strong Towns seminar that was Saturday morning. We've already, so we do have a question, the joint meeting with P&Z. We recommend that it be postponed. It is not an urgent meeting. It is the one on the zoning ordinance update.
No question, cancel.
Postpone?
Or postpone, yeah.
Everybody, okay?
Yes.
Okay. And then we've canceled the census town hall meeting on the 26th, especially in light of the community gathering requirements. On the 28th, Saturday the 28th, we do have a household hazardous waste collection event scheduled. It will be at the Senior Center parking lot. It does not fall under the prohibition of community gathering because, first of all, people come in, they drive up with their stuff, staff takes the household hazardous waste chemicals and stuff or whatever it is out of their trunk or out of their truck and then deposits it in the depositories, the receptacles. So you don't have a lot of people gathering in one close proximity. Staff can be spread out more than they are. But usually it's one person that's coming up, getting the stuff anyway and taking it over. So there is a minimal interactions and certainly not people clumping together. Again, it's a contract that we have with the county to provide that household hazardous waste pickup. We do that once a year, that collection event. We're on track to do it, but that is a question for you if you all want us to continue with that or not. It does provide citizens the opportunity to get rid of their chemicals and stuff in their house.
I think if the county allow you to postpone to get more, since you said it's one time a year, right? I think you postpone it so you give the county more time.
So I don't think the county will allow us to postpone it. I know last year we got it rained out and we were not able to reschedule it.
Their calendar's full. There's some other locations. Redbird is in another month. I think we talked about it.
Following month.
April 11th.
There's two parts to that and the TCQ permitting too. So those are the two things that we have to juggle in order to get an event. So if we don't have it here, it'll be another probably year before we can do it. To Greg's point, there is one, it's going to be at Redbird, so it's in close proximity. If you feel that that's sufficient, we can communicate that.
Are they still planning to do that one?
Well,
as far as you know?
We probably need to double check that just to make sure if that's still on.
I don't think people will come because they've been told to stay away, stay home, unless it's, you see how even restaurants are not going.
If they cancel the postpone, you think they'll give you another date?
So the way I'm tracking, I understand for household hazardous waste, is they schedule these events for the entire county for the entire year. And so last year we had to request the 28th and that was it. What we can do, there's always opportunities for people to do it. So whenever there is an event for any of the partner cities, they can drive and use those events and get that service. And they can always still go to the main collection station and bring their products to there. What we're offering on the 28th is basically the easiest, most convenient way for our citizens to get rid of their stuff. But if they want to drive a little bit out, a little bit outside of somewhere else in the county, they have those events, and they are free. They just have to go. They just have to go there and do it. Yeah, outside the city.
Right now, you talk with the county. If we were to continue with it, are they willing to support it? So as you see, but there are other opportunities. So this is not the only chance for people to be able to take it. It's just this is the most convenient opportunity for them. But there are ways that they can still get rid of their stuff. This is household hazardous waste only. We'll have another event we'll talk about here in April that we have the cleanup event, and that's more broad as far as what people can bring, but this is the household hazardous waste one. So again, whatever y'all think is best for the community.
I'm okay with letting it happen. It's not prohibited, and it's still going to be basically car by car. It's almost like driving up to a restaurant.
Yeah.
So it'll be a gathering. Did you ask our staff how they feel about being out there?
As well, staff.
Right.
How many staff would we have?
Our volunteer list when I looked at it the other day, it was probably 30 folks.
Is your volunteer list staff? Or is it-
Yes.
Okay.
It's typically the service center.
Are they wearing PPE? Some of them are because of what they're handling,
Yes.
right?
Well, the county has their crew as part
And
of
the,
it.
and the county's crew is there too.
I kind of like.
So there's a
to
lot of
say-
staff, but it's
You-
on the entire parking lot,
Yes.
the big double parking
You guys
lot.
gotta
Where
do
they're
that.
having to do traffic
I think you
control,
guys
so
ought to
you've got traffic
decide.
control going in,
Yeah.
I'm not-
queuing them up, getting it out of the trunk.
Taking
Then
their
you've got-
name.
Get the name, right, checking to make sure they're county residents, and then you've got the crews that are unloading and dispersing.
I don't care, I just hate to drag a bunch of people out and then no one shows up because they've been told to stay away, you know, and,
We haven't specifically canceled it.
no, but
Yeah, and we're still
lot of
have the
people just stay
advertisement out there,
away.
that's why we need to know whether we're gonna do it or not, so we
There
can.
could be a wide scale.
What do you
consumption
recommend?
of this.
What do you what do you say we do? What do you?
So,
That's what we.
last
What
year,
should we do?
Bonnie, last year, what ended up happening, because I mean, I was planning on doing that, and I think they had it coordinated with the park cleanup as well last year.
We had a severe thunderstorm.
And the thunderstorm came in, and it was kind of like, and it's like, everybody had to go home, so they're kind of on call, so to speak, and it's like.
We didn't do it last year. I have noticed, we do have people that do go all the way to the main service.
Which is where is it?
You know what?
I forgot the
You
name.
got some of the counties.
Yeah.
It's not the one.
Is it the
Plano
one-
Road.
It's not the one on Plano Road.
Plano Road, it's not the one over on Illinois?
There's one, they gotta go to Plano Road. It's used.
Like
We,
within the-
you know, I see the invoices when we go through. And again, there are other opportunities. Again, the Redbird one is on the 8th. If another one of the other cities, again, in the area do it, they can go there. This is for free as well. So, you know, like I said, just a little bit longer drive. Just for us, the timing is sort of just unfortunate with,
Yeah, I think the risk, as you mentioned it, everybody's assuming everything's canceled. We just haven't specifically per se said this is an event that's been canceled per the, calendar event. You're right, they may be assuming.
There's widespread presumption it's canceled,
Yeah.
probably, without even thinking about it.
And most of us got it. They said, stay home, stay away, okay.
If we were to put it under the definition of essential versus non-essential, it comes under non-essential. Stuff coming out from the president all the way down to essential versus non-essential. I'd actually want to do it, but in terms of us being prudent stewards of the safety of our citizenship, probably be more conservative than liberal and assume that people aren't going to show up. As long as
I'm
there's
thinking
one- as long
about
as
staff
there's-
too, in county, so they all show up and stand there and no one comes, and.
But as
so
long
it's-
as there's one in Redbird in April,
Yeah,
that's not that far away.
More important, we ought to do.
Assuming they hold it too.
Assuming they hold it too.
So more important is we ought to do everything we can to stop the possibility of this thing spreading.
that's
somewhere.
right.
That's what I'm
So
going,
that's
that's
what-
that's where
that ought
I'm
to be the
essential
thing we
versus
just-
non-essential.
Stop it.
Then cancel it.
And not expose our people to any possible risk whatsoever of contracting it. Let's cancel, okay, let's cancel. Y'all, you okay with that?
That ought to be the measuring stick on anything is let's stop the virus, whatever that is.
Okay.
That's great.
The police department annual banquet on that Saturday has been postponed already, time uncertain. The next events on your calendar were the 30th and 31st, interviews with the search firms, the 3 firms that you had scheduled.
Wow.
That's up to you all. Again, if you want to continue, I would suggest you do a setup like this where you're spread out, distanced.
Well, along the line of essential versus non-essential, most important things we do, in my perspective, is
Stop the virus.
work with the city manager, choose the budget. And so,
Just
my concern is that if we put this off, then I just don't know how long this situation is gonna last in terms of this virus. So I think that's something in terms of conducting the business of the city that's essential. That's what people look to us for.
I think it's essential to the future operations of our city.
I agree.
If there's not gonna be a lot of travel going on, that's normally when you bring people in and out to interview.
These are all local
This is
people. All the three we picked are here in the
Yeah, they're all
Metroplex.
local.
They're all in the Metroplex. There won't be any air travel for these people. I'm good with holding up, holding the dates as they are. Because it's, to me, it's essential for the future operation of our city.
Unless this expands, if the virus starts.
Unless you, yeah, between now and the 30th, day by day. For right now, let's go ahead and keep it, but be aware that.
We will let them know.
We don't know.
Mhm.
We don't know.
Moving into April, the Red Summit has been canceled already. That is not ours, that is West Southwest. Council meetings, and we may want to just come back on council meetings as a whole. The Operation Clean Duncanville, it's not on the 8th, Kristen, is it? That's that Saturday, isn't it Saturday the 4th or the 11th?
It's on.
The fourth.
It's on the
4th, okay. So Operation Clean Duncanville is then also where people can bring in e-waste, shredded bulk materials for drop-off. It is, again, it's a drop-off type thing where staff takes the stuff, dumps it. This is the only one we do, I think. Well, the library does one in the fall, an e-waste collection. And I don't remember the.
Can't we just leave
I
y'all, can't we
think-
just leave the mayor and the city manager and just make decisions on these, but depending on how bad it is?
Well,
I mean, can't we, I mean, do we need to do?
you could, but we're here, so, you know.
Yeah, but we don't know what's gonna be like there in 2 or 3 weeks right now, so we don't know.
Well, I think
If it's worse or the same.
what you said earlier, Monty, still goes for this.
Yeah.
Minimize risk of exposure of any of our
If
people
it's,
to
if the
anything.
curve is gone, then you
Well,
would make. a
based
decision.
based upon what Governor Abbott had said today, everything's kind of 4th, and it's 4th of April, I'd say it's still a risk time, so I would vote to postpone that.
And this is our event, right?
This is
our
our.
event.
Yeah, so yeah, we
We can
can
reschedule
reschedule that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Postpone it.
But the council meetings too, though, if they're, based on, it's high risk, we don't have them, or.
Well, we're gonna talk about those,
Yeah.
because there's some options available to us now, so we don't have to physically be here.
Okay.
We're gonna work, that's a new subject coming up soon.
Okay.
Budget town hall on April 9th, we suggest just canceling that again, town hall meeting, I don't think we'd be able to do it anyway, 50 people. The board and commission banquet at April 23rd. Kind of think that, again, that's a social, or
Non-essential.
non-essential, and it would be more than 50, we just
Yeah.
cancel it.
Yeah.
Okay. Joint meeting, again, postpone that one, again. And then, I think in May, we have a bike rally, or on May 2nd.
Yeah, don't just take this, I want to wait and see, kind of early to make this decision.
This far out, we can wait and see.
All right. I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Cancel Kevin's retirement party.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're not gonna do it.
Stop loss.
No, we're just,
I would,
It's a non-essential social gathering.
yes, that's correct.
Well, maybe it'll be over by then.
If it is, then we will, but
If we
I'm
cut
assuming that it's
it
not right
down to
now.
all the visitation,
I'll just disappear in the dark at night.
we quit seeing each other.
yeah, throughout the day, just
Oh,
throughout the
where
day.
is that on?
That wasn't on here.
Oh, yeah, the Easter egg hunt, I think it's gotta be canceled too.
Yeah,
That's-
it's
That's
gone.
all your question.
It's
That's all.
gone.
You know, that's really rotten too.
One day it comes.
Yeah, we're rotten.
Blame the virus.
Because we tried forever
Have a
to do
virtual
that.
Oh,
The ladies say so.
So,
Look it
well,
up for pumpkins.
council meetings. So
Yeah.
speaking of council meetings then, and we can discuss this some more, but there are, I sent you some information last night. The governor has relaxed the Open Meetings Act regarding teleconferencing. Tracy has been started looking into it yesterday when we saw those new guidelines. Shelby will probably have to brief you more on what the specific guidance is, but from my understanding, I mean, we still have to meet posting requirements, but the main thing is you have to be able to provide the public a phone number that they can call in and participate in the meeting. So what we have found is a platform, and I can't remember the name of it now. Paul, do you remember the name of the platform?
Zoom
Telecom.
meeting,
Oh,
Zoom
yeah,
meetings is the one that we're looking at.
I did one yesterday, it was really good with the
Yeah.
partners.
You have the ability to.
So it's like $4,000 for the year.
Subscription for the year, for 500 entrants. Yeah,
entries.
500.
500 entrants into the call-in. But we can set up, so essentially what it would be is a conference call-in number that we would do the meeting on. And then we would publicize that number that people could call in. I think you can, some of the conference calls have been on, that you can control. It's not, it's a list, people are put in listen mode only until you open up the queue for them to dial in or to call in and ask questions. And so then you can control the questions coming in. So that
So
can
you
be.
put your pictures are still up, or?
Right, y'all would have to video conference, y'all would have to, I think they would have to video conference in if they're doing it remotely. Is that right, Shelby?
We had a
I
mixture.
have never used
So we had a
Zoom
mixture
before.
yesterday. We had a mixture. We had some that had video and then some were
Yeah,
just
and I think
calling.
we've got to find out for sure what the requirement is for the governing body. Right, so right now, too, with the relaxation, from what I saw in some of the stuff from TML, there is not a requirement that a majority of the governing body be at this location. That is a normal requirement, but that is not a requirement. But I think you may still have to video conference in. But you have iPads, we just have to put an app on there that gives you that platform for the video conferencing in. And then the public, I don't think they would have to be videoed, but I think y'all would have to be videoed. So we're looking into that, trying to run that down. We do believe that at least probably the first time, maybe even, that it's gonna really be it'll probably be a mess, but we can work through it.
I'm start having all my meetings that way.
Yeah.
I tried it this week.
But we can
It was
do
good.
that.
It was really good.
Or the other, and so some of you may want to take that option, some of you may want to meet here. I do think that it is imperative that the council continue to meet and conduct. We have business we have to conduct. We will limit the agenda to just those things that have to be done. And so that can really reduce the amount of time too.
Now, the information that we received from the AG's office is that the visibility.
You speak up, Shelby.
I'm sorry, the requirements, or the information that we've received from the AG's office is that the visibility requirements with teleconferences or video conferences are being suspended. So I don't know how that would work on a medium like Zoom, but it's my understanding that it would not, it could be a teleconference.
What's the requirement on you're talking scope of visibility, that the whole council chamber has to be visible, or
No,
what do you
just
mean by
that-
visibility?
Just the individual members, if I may. So Dallas tried this Wednesday. And so what they did is they had council members at their home, council members actually in their respective offices at City Hall, and then some that were actually in the briefing room. But they were all staggered around. But the one key concept in that meeting anyway, they tried was having that visibility of the member that was addressing. And that's what you're trying to capture with the law. So if a council member is addressing the rest of the group, you're seeing that council member in their face. And so if the AG has suspended that, then that's not as important. But under the rules as they were, you still had to see if I may, Councilmember Veracruz was speaking, then that was what was going to be prominent. You're not having to look at the whole dais or what have you. But in Dallas's case, they were separated, again,
They had a split screen too, though, where you saw different shots of different people.
Yeah, what it does is it has all your pictures up there across the top, and whoever's talking gets big.
It gets, yeah.
Yeah, so, now, we don't know
It's
what
really
platform
slick.
they were using, but
I
I
know
think
that
several
Zoom-
cities are looking at the Zoom
Yes,
conferencing.
Zoom is, from what I'm looking into and from what I've heard, that Zoom is the premier, I mean, it's the top choice of what companies that work on a regular basis and have meetings, and what most of the cities, most if not all the cities that we've been in communication with are going to be using.
He says 4,000 a year.
That was
Yeah.
what Tracy
It's
said.
basically 4,000 for 500 users.
500 users, right, but, yeah.
For the year.
Is that cumulative, so he can
That I don't
meeting
know.
it adds
I don't
up
know, I was
to
just
five?
thinking that, I'm not
He's
sure
doing
that.
research. We're looking, there's 2 or 3 other companies out there that do these things. So I know he was doing the research on best pricing, how many people we could get onto the platform, ease of use, those kind of things.
How about we just move out, do whatever you gotta do?
But we'll plan on the regular
Let's do
meetings.
teleconferencing for our next city council meeting. And work it the best you can, let us know how it comes out.
Only one caveat there. If we're gonna do the teleconferencing, that means no stock caps and nobody slips.
You can still come here in a suit and tie.
Yeah, I probably.
And if we're gonna only have like pertinent, important stuff, pertinent, I guess is the wrong word, because you think everything's pertinent, but, then I don't think that we would have anything on, consent. Because if it should be only things that are,
Well, minutes.
Well, no, I mean,
Still-
consent
Minutes
it's
will
still
be
operational.
consent. Minutes will be consent.
yeah, but there was a whole lot of stuff that was not necessary.
Well,
It's
then,
not,
we're still gonna have those necessary
die.
contracts that could be on consent because they're necessary, we're gonna have to approve them, but they're not anything that's, you know, controversial or need a lot of discussion, so
Concrete
I think we would still, but I think we're gonna have fewer things, pardon?
No, I was just saying the routine, like purchases of vehicles.
Right, correct.
I'm just wondering, do we see ourselves not attending the meeting? I mean, I don't see myself using a conference line.
It's your call.
You could be sick.
It's your call.
Yeah.
As Paul was saying, in Dallas, some were in their offices, some were at home, some were physically there in the chamber, so it's your call.
You would need to let us know ahead of time, though, if you were going, is, I think, probably at least the day before, so we know and make sure. Well, I mean, we'll set up the conference anyway, so the public doesn't have to come in.
Yeah.
But then I think we just want to make sure if you're going to do it, that we got everything set up to do it.
Because the essence of the change is so the public doesn't have to come in. It's really not focused on the council, it's focused on the citizens.
So,
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
ask, since, Mr. City Manager, I wanted to ask, since there are a lot of little things going on with the COVID and stuff, are we tracking, or we have things in place to track what we're doing for COVID in case there's like reimbursements and then they?
Yes, sir, we are. And that was something else that I failed to mention on what I was covering on everything that we're doing. But yes, we have set up codes in our personnel system and in our purchasing system to be able to track things that are related to our response on COVID-19. So, and Tanya, again, has been very instrumental in making sure that we got all that right information and what the guidance is.
According to the president, FEMA's taken this whole thing over. So any request for reimbursement in the future is going to be channeling into FEMA.
Yeah.
So this is considered a Stafford Act declaration because there is a state declaration. So that will make us eligible for 75% reimbursement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Thank you, because that's just extra work y'all have to do as well.
Yes, boards and commissions.
Yeah, so we also want to talk about board and commission meetings. And what my recommendation would be is that the council urge boards and commissions to not meet unless they have to. We do think that there was going to be a few meetings that we think the TIF board will need to meet. We think the EDC will need to meet. P&Z may not have to, but if they get a development case in, they may have to as well. But again, canceling all non-essential meetings And if we can't, we'll provide the conferencing to them as well if we can do that.
Right.
That was gonna be my comment. If we're getting the Zoom, there may be a potential.
Sure.
Did the sister city meet?
They did Monday night.
Why?
The mayor wanted to talk with them, and there was only 5 of them. And, so, we did have that meeting. Okay, I think,
Put them on notice that it's going away.
Remember where you are.
so I think that, is there any other questions about, I think that covers all the events, meetings, things that we know that are coming up, covers the boards and commissions that we want to talk about. The next thing that we did want to get input from the council on is the May election. And so I sent you information yesterday. Again, the governor has authorized cities to move the May election to the uniform uniform election day of November 3rd. There are some, we provided you some guidance, some information from the state on that. What they have said is that it does not reopen the filing period. So whoever's filed now is who's on the ballot. So essentially, what they're doing is taking it right now as what it looks like today, and then moving it to the November election if you want to do that. So you will have to, if you want to do that, we would have to pass a resolution here doing that. We're still trying to get more information. Kristen's contact, we've been talking with Bob, and he's been talking with some of his other cities. The county, we don't know if the county will actually run the election if we decide to hold it in May. We don't think they're going to, which means we would have to have voting machines. We're not sure how that voting is going to work, because what we're hearing is right now too is that the county is wanting to do the runoff in May as only mail-in ballots. So if we have the election in early May, it may have to be that way, and I don't know how that works with all mail-in. Likelihood too that there will probably be fewer cities doing it in May. So again, if the county does run it, we would have some shared cost, but it's probably going to be more than our normal election, probably a lot more. And if we have to run it on our own, I have no idea how much that may be. Pushing it to November, it's pushing it out farther. It's the general election then, so.
And it will be a smaller cost, I was told.
Because there's more entities participating in
Right.
that. So.
From a practical standpoint, I can't see people wanting to campaign anyway, and I can't see people out in the community wanting to, put up with folks coming by and campaigning. So I think it would be better that we do push it off, if nothing else, that it'll put everybody that's running, I think, on the same footing.
What about you,
I'll
John?
hear from Doug now.
What's your feeling? Because you're the one most affected by it.
I would tend to agree with Mr. Harvey said. I think it would probably be a more even footing, and also I'm always in favor if you're saving some money for an election.
My thinking is that somebody obviously thinks that we're still going to be in some state of emergency by May. Otherwise, this is such a outlier kind of a decision to take elections never before heard of and push them out to November. Because the underlying thought that's not being said is that we're still going to be under some kind of threat for community spread still into May. And the activities that go on for campaigning and elections and so on and so forth still expose individuals to a threat. That's why this decision's been made. So it's more like, why are they doing this? That's why I think they're doing this, is that we're still going to be under threat by May.
Yeah, I don't know if that could be true as well. At the same time, the early election ballot was already gone out. So just FYI for us, I'm sure we'll just say it's canceled, but they've already been mailed out, by the way. But I'm in favor of November as well. I would like us to put the mayor in District 4, the mayor's race back on the ballot if it goes to November.
I am looking into, I think they're saying if we go to November, the unopposed candidates may still be sworn in on May.
Okay, I get that.
But if not, I will look
If
into
you
that.
cancel the election for those places.
For those
though,
places, if I cancel the election for those
Then
places.
those two places could be sworn in right away in May.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No, 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 no,
Whoa,
that's not what I'm
whoa,
saying.
whoa, 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 whoa,
Mayor.
Wait a minute. He's going two different.
Right.
I
Yeah,
just heard
if
two
you want,
different
if you
things.
want the name on the ballot in November, then that would
Yes.
mean not canceling the election for the mayor in
District.
That's what
District
I'm-
4.
Yes.
How-
So
However,
so we can cancel, we can cherry pick what's canceled? We can cancel Don's district and not cancel mayor in District 4?
No, well,
No.
no, it's
No,
not,
cancel
no,
ballot.
you're not
Because y'all are
canceling.
unopposed.
Well, I'm saying, let me just clarify what I'm saying. I'm saying to us to still have the mayor in District 4 on the ballot in November, if we choose November.
Despite the fact we can be sworn in May.
Yes,
is the
because
position.
that doesn't really matter. Yes, we can, Don's
The
still be
one,
working
the
as
one
well.
thing on that though too is that the more places you have on the ballot, the more people, we get charged by how many people vote. So especially with the mayor, you're gonna have essentially the whole city voting. We're gonna get, it's gonna cost us more to have you all on the
Why
ballot.
would you want to do that?
But that's not what Pippin told me when I talked to her.
When I talked to her, she said it could triple our cost by just having the mayors. And then if we put District 4 on there, nobody would see that because it would all be for Don's for District 2.
Yeah, that was if it was May 4th, May 2nd. But I'm saying, I'm talking about November.
It's still gonna cost me.
Not according to what she told me. So I'd like us to provide that, like, writing.
Can we get something in writing?
Yeah, like the writing.
We can get that, yes, but our understanding.
Why do you want to do that? Just
Well,
curious.
we want to encourage people to still come out and vote, period. And when they don't see it, it's lost their mind. We want to get people in a routine of voting, and if you don't, we already have a hard time getting them to vote,
Well,
period.
Mark and I had this discussion offline because we're unopposed and both of us interestingly had the same opinion, was that we'd like our names on the ballot, even though we're unopposed, strictly for getting people out to vote because they're apathetic. So if we're there,
Okay,
you
I
know,
get it.
we get people out. But Mark, doing this in November, it becomes a moot point. It really doesn't have play if we push the election.
So you'll start the voting
into
anyway.
November.
Yeah, if they do it in May, then
I don't think you should do it.
I can't hear you.
well, I think that they're gonna be lost.
Is it Ham? How big?
It's like round.
So, can you find out if, for sure, can you find out if for sure that we can cherry pick cancellation or postponement of a district and not of, or how the mechanics of Mark and I being sworn in May?
Now, I'm sorry.
So we
to
do have this
interject.
email, yeah, we have an email
Please
right
do.
here from the state that
Yeah,
Kristen
so-
has, and number 2, I think, answers your question.
Now, okay, well, let me look at this, but it's my understanding, because I had this question come up recently, not having to do with moving an election, but as far as unopposed members getting sworn in early. Now, I understand that typically the election is held in May, but if the election is moved to November, you can't swear in any new members until November unless there's a vacancy.
That's my question. You
Yeah.
can't cherry pick what happens
Right.
in
Well,
May if
Now,
everything
That
pushed
came
out
from the
to
state,
November.
though.
Well, I'm just talking about members being sworn in. Because if you're moving the election to November, if that happens,
Oh,
then
so-
that's
So we serve
when-
and just don't get sworn in May.
Right.
Well, I think the state though is saying we can.
So if
You have the
we
email?
Yeah.
Kristen, which email is that?
Yeah.
Number 2, I think, answers that question.
If your
You're talking
entity
about-
cancel their May election, your new officers will still be able to take office.
Oh, yeah,
The
that's it.
canceled party, you still let candidate be sworn in. Well, if you choose to postpone, for those officers took the oath of office in May, you do not have to place your names on the unopposed candidate. Good.
We'll get clarification for sure, but it sounds like then that the consensus is to move the election to
Yes.
November. Okay,
Yeah.
based on that, you will need to pass a resolution doing that. And we'll make sure then that we have clarification, and if we can cancel part of the election, we'll do that at the same time on the same agenda. So we cannot wait till the next regularly scheduled council meeting to do that because we've already called the general election. We have to publicize the election 30 days prior to the election date, which is April 2nd. So we have to make this decision prior to that date. Since you have decided to have a meeting on March 30th and 31st, we will make that part of that agenda so that you can do it at the same time.
Right. Does that include the school board rates as well?
I think it does. I think that's all elections, and I don't know what the school district is going to do. I was going to reach out to Dr. Smith and ask him. I just didn't have a chance to ask him about it. In talking with my fellow city managers yesterday, we were talking about this. I got the sense from at least a couple of them that they thought they were probably going to postpone to November as well.
But the school district has their, they're on their own, they can do what they want to do, right?
Right. They're-
So basically, the Secretary of State is taking the stance that even though is basically taking the stance that if you cancel the May election and move the remaining positions to November, it's as if the May election for those candidates that are unopposed was
Figure it out, Sylvie.
Well,
Figure it out.
I mean, if it's coming from the Secretary of State.
Yeah, he's he's been smoking.
But typically, typically, you're not supposed to be sworn in until after the election takes place.
Right.
But I guess what they're saying is that it's as if the May 2nd election took place for those who were running unopposed.
We need clarification, but all we know is for sure, we're postponing the election.
Right.
How it plays in terms of me and Mark being sworn in May, we just figure that out
We'll
later.
make sure we work with Shelby and Bob and make sure we've got whatever needs to be done on that.
Well, you don't
on
have to
those.
postpone it until the March 30th.
Just provide us the writing piece.
So, I mean, by the grace of God, if things started turning around and looking like wasn't necessary.
Well, yeah.
Everything
Yeah, but-
says it's gonna get worse before it gets
Yeah,
better.
and they've already lost some ground that they're going
I know.
to need.
Stay away from each other,
Yeah.
then maybe go.
It's just, it's like
Yeah.
recording of events, as the ability to record events increases, the number of events reported increases. And that's what's happening. As the number of tests become more available, the more people are going to
yeah.
be found to be infected, and the numbers are going to go up. So it's just going to be an exponential increase. So, yeah, shelter in place
Perhaps you should
until
share that with more
like
people.
July.
Because some people think
And
it's.
I do want to clarify one item that we were discussing earlier about the video conference. When I said that the visibility requirements are not required, they're saying if a quorum cannot be made via video conferencing or via being physically present, then you can teleconference. So say that the state say that you've got members quarantined and you have members that don't have the ability to video conference in, or if that's just not an option that the city wants to take. Under the suspended, with the suspended provisions of the Open Meetings Act via the AG, you can do a teleconference. You do not have to do a video conference. Although video conference would be less chaotic, I will tell you that much. If that's something that, because I know that with teleconference, every person has to announce themselves, right, identify themselves right before they speak. If there's a lot of back and forth, that can get confusing. But just to clarify that if that is, for some reason, if a video conference is not if the city's not able to do a video conference for a city council meeting, it's not just for an advisory board. The city council meeting can be held just via teleconference.
We'll try to work towards to the video conferencing.
But I'll forward you, I mean, I can
What
get
you
you.
got me confused on is you started out talking about a quorum and not a quorum.
Well,
He's saying you don't have to have a quorum.
How come we
no,
have a
you
meeting
do
without
have
a
to,
quorum?
no, you do have to have a quorum.
She's
But
saying
it can
if
be
you
one
want
You
a conference
can't,
call
you can't reach a
It can be a
quorum
You can call somebody.
physically,
Yeah, she's talking about. the
but you can
physical
reach a
presence.
quorum
That I understand.
via telephone.
Okay, that,
Then you can have a teleconference.
I thought he said you didn't have to have a quorum, period.
No, I thought.
No, you
No,
do.
you still have to have a quorum.
Still gotta have
So
a
You
quorum.
just don't,
You
the
don't have to-
visibility
you can-
You
requirement.
can do it by video or telephone, either way.
Yes.
But you still have to have a quorum.
Yes.
Still gotta
Where,
have a
where
quorum.
is that?
Uh,
But you
in-
can't, you
I
can't
didn't- we don't have all the
you can't
copies
fix
of
the
that
two delivery
for
systems.
you for the open.
Or you can't.
I don't remember
We should-
reading.
I think it's in, but it's in that, one of those two
I
ones that I
don't
sent
think
you
that
all
there would be
yesterday.
any prohibition.
Check in that link, one of
Yeah.
those.
So some people could be on the phone and some people could be on video.
Yes.
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 So,
Or everybody could be on the phone,
Right.
or everybody could be
That I
on video.
understand.
So if someone had a concern about being exposed and they need to be quarantined, they can still call in.
And not have on video.
I think the, under the legislation just changed this past session to loosen video conferencing of meetings. But I think the requirement was still that you had to have a quorum physically present at the location of your regular meeting.
That's what-
That is being relaxed, but you still have to have a quorum to
Right.
conduct business.
I remember that.
That's-
Oh, I thought they just came up with this for this particular incident.
They just did make some changes in video conferencing in the last session. But it is more restrictive than what this is.
Okay.
Mayor, that was
Rhoda's
all.
speaking to
Pardon me?
the, Rhoda's speaking to.
Yeah, that's road.
I
He's
don't
keeping
know.
his social distance.
Oh, I didn't know
You
if you
need, you wanna
needed.
come, you can come in and just, you wanna.
Pick a chair and
Not
not
well.
facing the wall.
Mayor, that was all that I had. I think if the next item then is the resolution in the order. Did you want to take a break, quick break, or just push on through?
Sounds good. Who needs a break? Let's go. Okay. Okay, so the first one that we have to do. All right, okay, I need to back up and just say something, so that we don't get confused on terminology. There's declaration and there's order, and you don't combine the two in your mind. They're not the same thing. Because then the county issued a declaration, the order followed the declaration. When I issued the declaration, the order followed the declaration. So we have to do both tonight. Okay, so don't get, they're not synonymous, and some people started throwing the two terms around together, and they're not. So the first one that we have all right, I've got a resolution 2020-026. What exactly is this? Is this the declaration? Or is this the
This is the
extension?
resolution that extends
This
the
is
declaration.
extension of the declaration.
Correct. But it includes some specific pieces for Duncanville.
All right, well, I'm going to,
You
what I'd
probably want
like
to go
to
through
do,
the sections.
I want to read this, let's all just read it together, so we can just do it and do it right, okay? So what we have before us is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Duncanville, Texas, extending a mayoral declaration of state of emergency and order as a result of the COVID-19 virus, providing for interim public safety measures, repealing all resolutions of conflict, providing severability clause, and providing for an effective date. Mayor of Duncanville on Friday, 13/2020, signed a declaration declaring state of emergency in response to COVID-19, issued an order with restrictions for community gatherings and assemblies. The circumstances surrounding COVID-19 have increased the need for social distancing and precautionary public safety response. State law provides that the mayoral declaration must expire on the 7th day after its issuance. And we issued on the 13th.
It expires at 11 o'clock tomorrow, 11 a.m. tomorrow, the 20th.
COVID-19 virus continues to necessitate an extensive and prompt public safety response, and the regulations set forth in the mayoral declaration may need to be extended or modified in order to continue to protect the general public. The amended mayoral declaration and amended order dated 13 March 2020 set to expire at 10 a.m. on March 2020 is attached here too, and is continued and renewed and shall expire at, okay, here's our first decision point. Everything we're seeing and understanding as we're looking at another month of this. So under consideration is what we do for President Trump has been calling for 15-day increments. State has said nothing specific. However, I will rewind back to Governor Abbott's first declaration of emergency response, which by law is in effect for 30 days. According to section code 418.014, according to what I read, right, Shelby? Right.
So you're saying that it supersedes Trump's?
Trump hasn't issued anything to that with
He
those.
is
He
not
said
sure.
15 days and Abbott said nothing?
No, Abbott said 30, is by law, by reference to 418.014 as a 30-day, has a 30-day effective date by law. So his expires in 30 days from the date of his issuance.
When is his 30 days up?
His 30 days, he issued his on what, the 12th?
He issued a new one today. Or
Today.
they issued a new one today.
Well,
He was on first.
the one issued today was not an extension. It's a totally different, it's a health emergency.
Right.
It's not the same as the ones in the past. No, what he issued today was an executive order, which is not a declaration.
I say we do 15 days at a time, I mean, because the reason, we can do it again because the reason is, we got businesses that will be out of business. I mean, if there's any way that the thing turns and we get to safety, I mean, safety first, obviously, separation first, but, I mean, I'm telling you right now, I got 500 tenants, and I can tell you the massive amount of calls I've gotten the last few days of people that are gonna go out of business. They will be out of business. That when we run out of money, when right now it's not that bad, but can you imagine in a few weeks when people run out of money, what's gonna be like? So I'm just saying 15 days.
But what would we do if we met?
I just say 15 days at a time. You can always do it 15 more if we can.
But I'm just asking, what would we do if we met before that and we were still under a medical emergency? What would we do to alleviate the stress on the businesses? What could we do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what we can do to relieve the stress of the businesses. I don't know.
Because if
don't
you
know.
can't-
They don't have a drive-in?
Well, the drive-ins,
Can't
that's
drive-ins
part of it,
all.
but there's people out there that are manufacture restaurant equipment or in the construction business that all the contracts have been shut down. I mean, I was in the process of buying 2 projects. I shut them both down for 30 days. I mean, there's people that are shutting down contracts. It's a domino effect right now. I'm telling you, a lot of little bitty businesses are going to go out of business week by week right now. They're going to. Especially when rent comes due on April 1st, you're going to see the first big, you're going to see a massive, there's going to be a massive
I guess
panic.
the only thing I'm saying is, what can we do? I mean, say
I don't-
people could go do business with them anyway?
No, I'm just saying that I would just rather see us do 15. I'm just talking about doing 15 at a time. Here's what all I'm saying, because in case it levels that there's any relief for any business, then if we're stuck into 30 days, I guess we could always change it. But I mean, that's what you're talking about, right? 15 or 30 days or 40 days or whatever.
You can pick any number of days.
Any number of
I
days you want.
would just like to propose that we do 15 at a time.
The only reason I brought up the 30 days was because of General Abbott's, I'm gonna rewind it too many years now. Governor.
It's comrade.
Whatever, I want to do whatever, I mean, first of all, I think we should do whatever we have to do to stop the spread, the stay, and the distancing. Secondly, I'd like to have the flexibility to help our businesses get back in business. And then if there's any question in the 14th day, you extend it again.
The businesses most affected are restaurants. Other businesses can stay in business according to everything that's out there.
That's not true. It's not
It's the truth. What they're doing is up to them.
Well, they can't stay in business if they don't have any money to make payroll. So.
We have to categorize those businesses though, Mike.
Well, there's anybody that's like, I have manufacturers that manufacture restaurant furniture and stuff, so they're out of business. You know, I have people that are doing graphic design for different kinds of businesses that are, and all of them are somewhat related to food and things like that. They're
Masco's not out of business.
Can I ask Tanya to explain something here real quick? Tanya, if you would.
Mayor and Council, I think we might be getting a little confused. We were talking a little bit earlier about the public health order, which is different than the declaration. So
Exactly.
the task at hand right now is the disaster declaration. So by having a declaration, so the county is already declared and renewed today for another, I believe, 7 more days. So the thing that is important for us to sort of know and understand is by having a local disaster declaration, it shows transparency and the ability for our residents to know and understand we're under a public health emergency. They should be curtailing mass gatherings, but the focus of the disaster declaration is really twofold. One is the ability for us to try to seek reimbursement through FEMA public assistance for this public health emergency. And the second is for, because we have a disaster declaration in place at the local level, we can apply for and receive or request federal assets. So many of you probably don't know, but we did the disaster declaration on Friday. On Saturday, we made a request to the state of Texas for personal protective equipment for our police department and our fire department. You probably have heard on media that we have a global shortage of personal protective equipment, N95 masks, face shields, gowns, coveralls, and the needed personal protective equipment based on the CDC guidance, we cannot get from our normal supply chain. We are talking about a significant disruption where we have letters from our providers saying that we just cannot provide this resource. So then the challenge that we have as public safety is then how do we still provide critical services to the community if we're not protecting our first responders? So we made a request. The state of Texas requested the Strategic National Stockpile, which is a federal asset. It was shipped to Arlington on Monday, and Cedar Hill, Duncanville, DeSoto, and Lancaster police and fire were recipients of personal protective equipment. We also received personal protective equipment for Duncanville ISD Police Department. So by having a declaration in place allows for us to be able to seek and receive state and federal resources to help us with COVID-19.
Yes, but this resolution is extending that declaration. The order, the public health order that was also issued with the declaration is what set the guidelines in place and the restrictions. So that order can be amended, and as you have seen, it has been amended by the county judge every day, pretty much for the last week. That can be amended, that can be reduced, restrictions can be reduced under that order, but the declaration is still in place.
Would we not be better positioned moving forward if we dovetail what we did with what's going on at the state level, at a minimum?
Well, and the state, I guess I'm not sure what their time frame is or whether it was 30 days or what, but what I would suggest to you though is if you want to do 15 days, my suggestion would be to go 20 days, and the reason is that puts it on Wednesday, April 8th, which is the day after your regular meeting on April 7th. That way it can be on your regular city council meeting and you're not calling a special meeting.
And I'd agree with that.
Okay.
So that's a 20-day.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, good.
So if something did happen, let's say a miracle happened and
We can always call.
we can always call a special meeting and open it back up, right?
Or they say
Yeah,
flatten down.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Flatten
okay,
down.
okay. So we would do that, right? I mean, to help our businesses, we
Yes,
would do
sure.
that. if that happened. All right.
Yeah.
So today we had 20 more cases. We have 55 cases in Dallas County. 16 of them are community spread. So it's going to continue to keep increasing.
Tanya,
Great.
Well,
when
if
did
the
the
testing
county
happens, they will,
expand?
because there's people that have it, we don't even know that have it.
When?
When, or to what time frame?
Yeah.
Hold on one second, I'll tell you.
maybe in your.
Because
I think it's 7 more days.
I was glued to my computer
Yeah.
looking for something coming out.
That was a
Lauren
press
Trumbull,
release,
and I
that was a
didn't
press
see
release
it.
this morning, wasn't it, from
They
Lauren?
had
That was
an
a press
emergency
release
commission.
from Lauren this morning, said 20 more cases were
I
right
know,
now.
I think
but no, I'm
some of the
talking about the
declarations-
extension.
She has.
Tanya said the county extended, I haven't seen anything on that.
Oh.
They had an emergency commissioners court meeting this afternoon, so.
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't seen anything, did they? And so the Commissioners Court extended the judge's order for 7 days.
I believe so, I'm gonna double check that.
So I left my house at
I don't
5:15,
know.
there was still nothing on the, from Lauren Trimble saying the extension had been done.
Okay, so we got that 20 days.
I would say, yes,
Well,
so
I
that
think
would
they were
be
gonna do
April,
more tonight.
April the 8th.
That's what I don't know.
So is
So we
that,
don't
is that?
know anything.
Yeah, 8th is
April
fine.
8th?
Yeah.
All right, city managers take all steps necessary, expressed and implied under declaration in order to report to state law, city Duncanville versus man plan to protect the health, safety, and welfare of citizens. The amended mayoral declaration and order is adopted, continued, and renewed. And city council hereby takes the additional actions as provided herein, which are as follows. City manager or designee may utilize the Federal Emergency Management Act procurement during exigent or emergency provisions, provision or provisions?
Emergency provision.
Sheldon? Is it provision singular or plural? During exigent or emergency provision of the code or provisions of the code? I think it'd be plural.
Yeah, it should be provisions.
Provisions, okay? Edit. Code of Federal Regulation. City manager may revoke any certificate of occupancy or other permits for any business that fails to comply with any provision of this resolution. This is important.
So let me explain that. So, Mayor and Council, we do have the ability, I think, and Shelley can fill in, under police department has some authority, has additional authority under emergency orders for arrest, for failures to comply with orders. Is that correct? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay. So
There's,
enforcement,
because there is
There's an
the
order in place.
management plan.
right, under the emergency management plan, right?
That's correct.
But what I don't want to do is use police resources if we don't have to. I believe that most businesses are going to comply with the order, but if we have a business that is not, then what I would like, under this, gives me the ability to rescind, revoke their certificate of occupancy for their business use. And then, if they continue to fail to comply, we can pull power, shut off their electricity. So we have the tool we need to ensure compliance. Again, I don't think it's going to be necessary, but this gives us that ability to do it.
And you should.
I agree.
Yeah, this is what we're going through is not optional stuff.
Right.
This is law.
Right.
Right.
But didn't you check, or you checked, all the businesses seemed like they were in compliance?
Yeah, but I've seen,
I checked the restaurants.
I checked
Every
the
restaurant
restaurants.
I've gone to has done exactly
I
what
have
they're
a-
supposed to do.
we have a business up in Dallas and they just ignored everything and said, it's gonna be over by the 20th, they're having meetings and, I mean, they're just doing it anyway.
It's a
So somebody's
restaurant?
gotta do it. No, it's a church, actually. They said, we're just gonna meet anyway.
Co-churches?
Yes, there are,
So, I mean, he
we
needs to
have
be
issues
able, he
in
needs to
other
have the power
towns,
to do
other cities
that.
and towns with,
Well, I
you've gotta
understand.
have some sort of enforcement provision, because if it's not in there, there's no authority for it. You have
Because
to
I
provide
understood it was Dallas County
Dallas
first,
City Council.
because they had a meeting on there yesterday in Fort Worth, Arlington, and Tarrant County, and they were just moving to that. It was Dallas County
But the city
first.
manager needs the authority to do this.
Yeah.
So Tanya was just showing me that the city of Dallas extended their declaration to April 29th, and the judge is going to ask the county to extend it for 30 days, their declaration. So. But I think what you have
We're
is
good
fine.
with 20.
Yeah.
Because we can always push off for what we need the next day. Okay.
Okay.
All right, C then. City manager may waive enforcement of any regulatory or ordinance provision for any businesses subject to this order in order to promote and execute provisions of the resolution. Okay?
So this item, again, it goes to what Councilmember Jameson brought up, and this allows me to waive enforcement of some specific regulations that we feel can help those businesses that are in trouble, and the signage being one of them. We have some requirements in there that prohibit banners, sandwich boards for businesses other than certain times. What this would do is give me that ability to direct staff to waive the enforcement of those provisions for the businesses that are affected by this order. And as we see if there's anything else that comes up that we can do to provide relief, then this would give us that ability to do it.
Yeah.
And how would you communicate that?
So what I will do is it will be a written directive to the staff, and then I will provide you that information as well, so that you know what we're
Okay.
And we would also waive the fee to.
Oh, yeah, so we're also going to waive permit fees for those as well.
The banners.
For the banners and signs, yeah.
Yeah.
Waive
Yeah.
fees.
I'm agreeing with
Yeah.
that.
Okay. D, city shall suspend accepting any applications for zoning, plats, and other long use. Is that land use?
I think that should be land use.
Yeah.
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 And that is to allow us so that we don't get into, if P and Z can't meet for some reason, we don't get into shot clock type of issues, where there are some things like plats and so forth that if you don't approve them, they're automatically approved. We don't want to get into that if the P and Z can't meet, so that's what.
What if an application for zoning's already in?
If they're already in, then we'll go ahead and continue to work it through.
Okay. Under the, other than.
Do we have any, Greg, do you know of?
Yeah, I know, well, I know one, yeah, but.
The only thing I'm thinking of, but it was, it's reviewed, was like
It's an
SUP
SUP,
plan.
you have an SUP, and I know that. What about?
Do we get the SP in?
I thought we got that.
Yeah, yeah, it was in the other day. It's one for main station. It's attached to
We received that.
there.
That's
Yeah.
well, in business, but.
That's a personal thing, let's move on.
No, I mean, it's yeah.
We'll see, yeah.
So if it's in, you're gonna do it? Okay.
You're gonna, you know what, you're gonna do
If we
what?
have any applications that have already been submitted, we will process them through. We will stop accepting as of when y'all approve this order tomorrow.
This goes into effect tomorrow.
Right.
Okay.
The council and/or any of its boards, commissions, or committees may meet by video conference or telecommunication as amended by the governor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Council hereby excuses and waives all attendance requirements for board, commission, or committee members during the application of this resolution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay? We're not gonna have, we're not gonna be able to tell quorum anyway. Okay. Section 4, any prior resolution of the city council in conflict with the provisions contained in this resolution are hereby repealed to a vote. Should any part of this resolution be held to be invalid for any reason, the remainder shall not be affected thereby, and such remaining portions are hereby declared to be severable. This resolution shall become effective immediately from and after its passage, as the law and charter in such cases provide. Approved by the city council of the city of Duncanville, Texas, 19th day of March 2020.
I want to ask you something, this is only for businesses, right? So if there were people who were having, like a whole lot of people at their house, it wouldn't matter.
The order is going to affect that.
So what happens then, police go knock on the door or something?
No, well, it would be code.
Code?
It's going to be a combination of code and fire marshal and police
We
when
have people that
necessary.
do that all the time.
Well, we're going to get to the order and those specifics
So
in that
that's
order.
different than this.
Yes, all this,
That is
this
the
is
order.
a declaration. Yeah. When we get to the order, that's when we can get into the details of what you can and can't do.
I just wonder how we're gonna let them know that, because there are people in the city that have huge people over all the time.
We're gonna be-
Go
we're
out
gonna
in the
be
champion newsletter, go on the website.
Yeah, we're going to be putting that information out, but I mean, it's been all over the news. I mean, yesterday when I was watching the news, it's all over the news about social gatherings of more than 10 or more people. And as you'll see when we get to it, I mean, the judge's order, the order that we have written here does specifically call out some specific social gatherings like backyard barbecues and things like that.
But so if code enforcement goes out, they just write them a citation?
Probably can, yeah.
We don't have a ticket for that though, do we?
Well, that's it, is a citation, yeah. Yeah. It would be just be under this, but yeah. So, I mean, the
so
thing is, but we'll just talk about it when we get to that order.
Okay, so, wait a minute, is it in order now? Did we have a motion to approve this resolution with the edits that
I
have been
think it all
described?
has to be approved as one. Right? The order and the resolution. The resolution incorporates
Yes.
the order and the declaration.
But what, don't we have to pass this resolution first? See, we always vote on a, pass a resolution.
I want to get to the next step.
Changes are made.
So it seemed to me that at this point in the meeting, with the edits that she's already done and what we've agreed to, we have a motion to approve this resolution.
So,
Well, it's section 1 though, says the amended mayoral declaration and amended order.
And we haven't done those yet.
And we haven't done those.
All right, never mind, all right. Cleared that up, all right.
one down.
At least we know where we're going. Okay, so where is
The amended order is right here, is this part.
is this one dated March 19th, 2020 at the top?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Pretty logo,
Yes.
2020.
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. All right, amended order of Duncanville. That'd be city of Duncanville? Excuse me?
Very top
At the
line.
very top, should it be city of Duncanville?
That should be.
We can change that.
All right, city of Duncanville, Kristen.
Okay.
Got it. Date, amended order issued March 19th, 2020. Pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 418.108, Mayor of the City of Duncanville issued a declaration of local disaster for public health emergency on March 13th, 2020. Due to a novel coronavirus now designated SARS. Really? It's SARS, CoV-2?
It is, that's the.
Cool, all
It's-
right,
it's-
fine, never mind.
It is a virus.
Which causes the
SARS
disease
yes.
COVID-19? I never, okay, good enough. On March 13, 2020, Mayor Gordon issued an order in furtherance of his authority to protect the safety and welfare of the public by slowing the speed of the virus.
Spread.
Spread.
The ongoing evaluation of circumstances related to the virus and the updated recommendations of the Centers for Disease Control and the Texas Department of State Health Services, previous orders and amendments. On March 16, 2020, President Trump acknowledged the gravity of the COVID-19 pandemic, releasing strict new guidelines to limit people's interactions, including that Americans should avoid groups of more than 10 people. March 13, 2020, order of the City of Duncanville, Mayor Barry L. Gordon is hereby amended as follows. The virus that causes 2019 coronavirus COVID-19 is easily transmitted through person-to-person contact, especially in group settings, and it is essential that the spread of the virus be slowed to protect the ability of public and private health care providers to handle the influx of new patients and safeguard public health and safety. Because of the risk of the rapid spread of the virus and the need to protect the most vulnerable members of the community, this order prohibits community gatherings as defined by Section 3 herein of 50 persons or more anywhere in the city of Duncanville, beginning at 11:59 p.m. on March 18. We're going backward?
That should be March
19th.
It needs to be done.
That's 19. That's 19, right?
Next.
That's why we're reading this, folks. And continuing through 11 a.m. on March. No. When? April. We put April 8th in here, right?
Yes, it's
Yes.
April 8th is on the resolution.
Okay, so this, okay, take out March 2020, April 8th.
Change.
April 8, 2020. Additionally, excuse me, this order prohibits social gatherings as defined by Section 3 herein of 10 persons or more anywhere in the city of Duncanville, beginning at 11:59 p.m. on March 19, 18, and continuing through 11 a.m. on April 8. For For gatherings of less than 10 persons, the City of Duncanville and the Dallas County Health Authority strongly recommends following the social distancing protocols attached to this order. Okay, I guess that's what they say. Additionally, the City of Duncanville, the Office of the Dallas County Judge, and the Dallas County Health Authority urge, that's a plural subject, that's a urge instead of urges. Urge in the strongest terms possible all high-risk individuals as defined by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, cancel, reschedule, or not attend any event. Header, under the authority of Texas Government Code Section 418.108, City of Duncanville. Yeah, there we go. Mayor Barry on orders. 1. Effective as of 11:59 p.m. on March 19th.
Thursday.
Oh, Thursday?
Yeah.
Thursday, yeah. And continuing until 11 a.m., April 8th. Parens A, public or private recreational gatherings and community gatherings as defined in section 3 below are prohibited anywhere in Dallas County. Should it be Dallas
City of
County or City of
Duncanville.
Duncanville?
City of Duncanville.
Right, change that. Kristen, oh, there you go.
Got it.
City of Duncanville.
By the way, April, Kristen, that's a small C.
Okay.
Restaurants with or without drive-in or drive-through services and microbreweries, microdistilleries, or wineries may only provide takeout, delivery, or drive-through services as allowed by law. Bars, lounges, taverns, private clubs, arcades, and gyms shall close. This is very minor, I'm sorry, but everything else ended in a comma, this ends in a period, so it should be a comma or a period, which one you want?
Should be a comma. It was a period because that was the last one on, well, that was not.
Oh, yeah,
Actually,
we had-
Dallas County had another one too, but they had a period
Okay,
in
so
there.
shall close, comma. Parens D, bowling alleys, skating rinks, bingo and gaming rooms, cigar or smoking parens vaping lounges shall close. Any comments?
So,
Pardon me?
so the cigars stores to
That
buy
that
cigars
was
is
already covered
closed?
in the previous order. but-
You can't buy a cigar and leave?
My understanding for the intent was to allow them to buy tobacco and cigar products, but they can't consume it on smoking.
But it says there that they gotta close.
Yeah, we've got to change the language, if that's what the intent is.
It says that cigar smoking lounges.
That was the intent.
Oh, yeah, it says
Shall
lounges.
But if it's a lounge and they sell stuff in there, do they have to close?
Do we need to add language to allow
Yeah.
the sale of merchandise, but not be allowed to stay
Right.
within the lounge?
Right, we want to make sure they can still sell. They just can't stay there.
Yeah, I think the
The
intent
intent is
was
the
that they
gathering.
could, the gathering, the
Right.
intent was to
Okay, but this-
prohibit
it
the
says here
gathering
that-
within the cigar lounges.
Okay.
But if they're a lounge and they sell cigars, it says they shall close.
Right, so we're going to add language right now.
Oh, okay, you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though they did say that if it vapes or smokes, it exasperates the virus.
Yeah, I mean,
So
So
would
you
we,
should quit.
would we
I don't
put,
smoke anymore.
would we put,
I quit smoking.
so would we just say then that bowling alley, skating rinks, bingo, and gaming rooms shall close?
Just say
And
it.
then,
No on-site consumption, I think we'll handle that.
and then E?
No, well, I would be more specific that they are permitted to sell merchandise from those activities, but no one,
Shall be, how do we?
Take
but no one, but yeah, for takeout only.
So
Again,
can't the bowling alley sell
Can we
their
get-
hamburgers?
How about letting Shelby give
Yeah.
us a recommendation?
They're not going to, they're going to shut
So
down.
add an E,
E?
separate this from the bowling alley, skating
Oh, add
rinks,
Yeah.
add an E,
bingoes, and gaming
okay, we're
rooms.
adding
Add
I
an
think
E.
so.
parens E.
Let her finish, go ahead.
Let's see, cigar or smoking, parentheses, vaping, lounges,
Retail allowed, lounges closed.
shall not allow the on-site consumption
Yeah, that'll do
of
Products.
tobacco products.
And but you have to clarify that they can be open for
Right.
retail.
So,
Well, there's not saying anything about them closing, because we're
Right.
taking them out of
the
the
closing
subsection
part.
D.
So,
I
Cigar-
just thought to
Oh,
be
you are.
clear.
You're
Removed off of D.
If we stop bowling alley, skating rings, bingo, and gaming rooms,
Comma.
and then another subsection
Oh,
E.
okay, okay.
cigar or smoking.
Cigar, smoking, vaping, lounges.
Shall not allow on-site consumption of tobacco products.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
that'll work.
That works.
Okay.
Period.
Period.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the end of the paragraph.
Okay.
Good deal. In addition, the Office of the Dallas County Judge and the Dallas County Department of Health and Human Services, Parens Health Authority, strongly urge high-risk individuals to cancel, reschedule, and not attend all gatherings until further notice. These recommendations are based on the social distancing practices attached to this order, as well as the implementation of mitigation strategies for communities with local COVID-19 transmission. Open quote, close quote, issued by the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, period. The Office of the Dallas County Judge and the Health Authority urge people to not attend non-essential gatherings during the duration of this order in order to help slow down the spread of the COVID-19 virus.
Just a small change,
Yes, ma'am.
recommendation. Third line of that second paragraph, and not attend any gatherings instead of all. That just doesn't. Does that sound better?
Yes.
Yes.
I lost you, Shelby. Where at?
Third
Third
line.
line of the second paragraph.
Oh, third line.
Strongly urge high-risk individuals to cancel, reschedule, and not attend any gatherings until further notice,
Got
as
it.
opposed to all gatherings.
That's
Also,
non-essential.
also, since this is the City of Duncanville order, we should say in paragraph 2, in addition, the City of Duncanville, comma, the Office of the Dallas County Judge, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
City of Duncanville,
Yes.
comma, or
That's-
office.
That's the last sentence. We're adding the City of Duncanville.
The first sentence.
First sentence.
Oh,
Yeah,
first
sentence, yes.
Well, and there's also the last sentence.
Yeah, and then the last sentence as well.
Last sentence also then.
Okay.
Okay, so let me read this thing. So in addition, the City of Duncanville, comma, Office of the Dallas County Judge and the Dallas County Department of Health and Human Services strongly urge high-risk individuals to cancel, reschedule, and not attend any gatherings until further notice. Skipping on down, last sentence. The City of Duncanville, comma, Office of the Dallas County Judge and Health Authority urge people to not attend non-essential gatherings during the duration of this order in order to help slow down the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Okay?
Somewhere the county had to go to attend funerals only up to 50 people. So when you say any, are you saying you would not be able to attend a funeral during that time as well?
Says strongly urged, doesn't
This is
say
not
you can't go.
Right.
It's not prohibiting, it's strongly urged.
I have a problem. We got 2 seconds. It's still happening.
Yeah, I will find it. Dr. Mitchell.
Now, Ronnie Malone, Malone's food store. Ronnie Malone died.
I know Charles Mitchell.
All right, ready? Paragraph 3, definitions. For the purposes of this order, a community gathering is any indoor, outdoor event or convening, subject to the exceptions and clarifications below, that brings together, or is likely to bring together, 50 or more persons at the same time in a single room or other single confined or enclosed space, such as an auditorium, theater, stadium, parens, indoor or outdoor, arena or event center, meeting hall, conference center, large cafeteria, or any other confined indoor or confined outdoor space. An outdoor community gathering under this order is limited to events in confined outdoor spaces, which means an outdoor space that, 1, is enclosed by a fence, physical barrier, or other structure, and 2, where people are present and they are within 6 feet of one another for extended periods. For clarity, Community gatherings include, but are not limited to, weddings, religious services, funerals, and other gatherings. So there's the prohibition on funerals.
Over 50 or
Over
more,
50.
right.
Over 50.
Yeah, and weddings.
How would you know it was gonna be over 50 unless you were the 51st person?
It'll be up to them.
We were invited to a wedding this weekend. That wedding invitation's been out there for 7 months. That young lady and her husband are calling the people saying, you can't come.
I
They know
understand.
their limitations and they're cutting it down to 50 people.
I understand, I'm just saying, at funerals normally,
Well, it's gonna.
you don't know, a wedding's a little different, you have invitations, funerals. you
Funeral
even know
parlor
who's
manager
coming.
would be standing at the door counting 50 people to make sure that they don't violate the order.
The other thing, just so that everyone understands too, this is 50 people total. It's not, we're not talking about 50 guests or 50
Total.
patrons.
Yeah.
This is total.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you get families of 50.
Yeah, it's painful. For the purposes of the order, a recreational gathering is any indoor or outdoor event or convening that is primarily social or recreational in nature, subject to the exceptions and clarifications below, that brings together or is likely to bring together 10 or more persons at the same time in a single room or other single confined or enclosed space. For clarity, social gatherings include, but are not limited to, parties, backyard barbecues, social events, sporting events, and other gatherings. Private facilities, such as country clubs, not county clubs. Private facilities, such as country clubs, may still operate their outdoor facilities, such as golf and tennis courts, but must limit indoor activities such as their card rooms and similar amenities to 10 people or less. This order does not prohibit gatherings of people in multiple, separate enclosed spaces in a central building such as school classrooms, residential buildings, or hotels, so long as 50 people are not present in any single space at the same time. This order also does not prohibit the use of enclosed spaces where 50 or more people may be present at different times during the day, so long as 50 or more people are not present in the space at the same time. For example, residential buildings may continue to operate their common facilities such as laundry facilities, so long as 50 or more people are not present at the same time. For any gathering covered by this subsection, the City of Duncanville, the Office of the Dallas County Judge, the Dallas County Health Authority strongly encourage compliance with the attached recommendations, including social distancing, providing hand sanitizer and tissues, and increasing cleaning of commonly and frequently touched surfaces. Surfaces.
Can we go back real fast
Yeah.
to the beginning? Go back to page 2, definitions, subsection B. Probably need to change. So for clarity, social gatherings, need to change that to recreational gatherings.
Is that the second line?
That is the
Next to the one.
second
Next
to
to the last
bottom line. Yes, second to last.
Why are you saying that, Shelby?
Well, this is, if I'm reading it correctly, B is defining recreational gathering,
Right.
which includes a social gathering.
Well, to be consistent, it should say social or, because that's what we started out the sentence.
but
with.
there's
But it's
Recreational.
in, previously in the order.
Then adds social,
Uh,
recreational in nature.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes, because previously in the order, they're prohibiting recreational gatherings, so we need to keep with recreational gathering.
Right.
So instead of it saying social gatherings include, change that to recreational gathering.
Oh, I see what you're
Okay.
saying. I see what you're saying, because we're under the
The
paragraph.
fifth
of
line
recreation.
down?
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Where,
Can you read the sentence
Next,
anyway?
next to the
I will
last.
Yes,
read the
so-
sentence. Okay.
so-
Next to the last.
Uh,
down here?
It starts
Fourth line.
for clarity.
Very
For
similar.
clarity,
Okay.
recreational gatherings include,
Okay.
We're changing the word social to recreation.
and
And we change country club on the next one. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question here, Shelby. For all of you, I guess. Paragraph C is just it's like, we hope that you don't do anything. Because down here, that we strongly encourage compliance.
To
me, it doesn't seem strong enough.
No, that's what I thought too. We strongly urge compliance. Doesn't mean you're gonna get a ticket or a fine.
Well, no, what this order is saying though is it's clarifying the idea that the 50 is not 50 total people in a building. It's 50 people in one room of a building. It's not 50 people who come to City Hall and come to the utility counter over the course of the day. It's 50 people clumped at the utility counter. So C is not a mandate. It's just a clarification, if you will. And then at the same time, it's saying, but even so, try to exercise social distancing and hygiene as much as you can. That's what that section C is. Because there was some confusion by businesses, and the part about like the laundry, for example. Judge Jenkins said that specifically came up from apartments because they have 50 people that come through the laundry room over the course of a day. They didn't know, does that mean that we have to close the laundry room? And the answer was no, because it's over the course of time. That's kind of what we were talking about with the household hazardous waste too. It's over the course of the time you'll have over 50, but they're not all there at one time in close proximity to each other. That's the intent, limiting that close proximity of a lot of people where you have person-to-person contact.
So what subsection C refers to is anything that would not fall within the definition of community gathering or recreational gathering.
Yeah,
Because those
C-
are already
right.
prohibited.
C tells you what you can do, A and B tell you what you can't do.
Right, but that, obviously, there's still strong recommendation not to do it, but, I mean, this covers, yes, exactly, City Hall, you know, where if we've got 15 people in here, but then we've got, you know, other people, we've got a total of 45 other people dispersed throughout the building in different offices or conference rooms, that would not, it's not recommended, but it's not prohibited.
Okay. We're all good then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, D. This order does not apply to the following critical facilities so long as visitors are generally not within 6 feet of one another for extended period. Critical infrastructure, including airport facilities and operations, bus stations, transit and transit facilities, government buildings providing essential services, schools or institutes of higher learning, office buildings, so long as employers take all steps reasonably possible to implement social distancing protocols, grocery stores and pharmacies, and hospitals and medical offices and facilities, including cafes and restaurants located within these facilities. For purposes of this order, grocery stores includes warehouse stores, big box stores, bodegas, bodegas. I looked at that three times. I read that 3 times today, and it never made
I
Is it
saw
like
it.
a convenience store?
Culprit Berry.
I saw it in the county order and I didn't know what it was.
I didn't get that.
Still don't know what it is.
No Spanish.
Yeah, no compré mi español, y this is no compré. So let's do convenience stores. Can we say convenience stores instead of bodegas?
I don't see why that would be a problem.
In the Spanish version, we can have bodegas.
It doesn't matter, I don't care, I didn't know what it was anyway.
You know,
A couple of gringos from Texas, we don't know what's going on. All right, bodegas for takeout, put in convenience stores. Or we can leave bodegas and add convenience stores. I don't care. What do y'all want to do?
Well, who put that in there anyway?
That came from the county's order.
But some.
All right, leave
Bodegas is the wine cellar.
Leave bodegas and add convenience stores.
Bodegas is a wine cellar.
Well, then that,
I scrolled down and it also said convenience store. So
What?
I agree with Mr. Cooks, but it also says, convenience stores. So he Googled it just like I did.
New York City.
The word came from,
Yeah,
the
so-
word came from an actual Spanish word for grocery store.
I think it probably needs to be omitted.
I do too, because I
Because
think it's.
even though it's now more commonly used as a convenience store, a small market grocery store, the primary definition of it is a wine cellar.
We don't have any bodegas.
So we don't have any.
Just, I would say omit it and put in a convenience store.
Yeah.
Why don't you get one of your,
A lot better.
And then the formatting,
you got bodegas at your?
the formatting on this, we've got double numbers. 1122.
Lonnie thought it was
Just need to try to fix that.
Oh, so we don't need double numbers? What do you?
Huh?
We don't need double numbers?
Oh, really?
Yeah, we can delete those, yeah.
So we're deleting the parens, right?
Yes.
Keep going.
Okay.
So,
We'll send the county ours, and once it's all cleaned up, maybe Judge Jenkins will just use ours as the time. You'll get right on that, right?
It's farmers markets.
It's a grocery store.
we're taking bodegas out.
All right, so this is what we got.
So you can do all of this, you just can't have too many people in there.
Yeah,
You have a
for
distance.
purposes of this order, grocery stores includes warehouse stores, big box stores, convenience stores, gas stations, and farmers markets that sell food products and household staples. In the settings described in section parens 3D, the Duncanville Mayor and the Dallas County Health Authority strongly encourage compliance with the attached recommendations, including social distancing, providing hand sanitizer and tissues, and increasing cleaning of commonly and frequently touched surfaces.
Do you want to do City of Duncanville, Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we use City of Duncanville in every other place
Yes.
instead of Duncanville Mayor.
City of,
Did this room get cleaned?
Pardon me?
This room?
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Well, we're cleaning
I was gonna
everything.
say, because a lot of people sit at this table.
And we'll, yes, ma'am, we'll clean it, wipe things down.
But just what you got.
In plastic, it stays longer than it does on metal and in the air.
Last one I saw said 2 to 3 days on both.
Metal is 2 days, I thought 3 to 4 on plastic. But
Well, they're
It's
changing
still too
depending
long.
on who you read.
It's still too long.
yeah, I read it on Facebook, it has to be.
So you know it has to be true, right?
The new,
That's where I get all my facts.
Now we know.
No facts.
that explains a lot, Monty. Now, the New England Journal of Medicine 2 days ago published their findings,
Yeah, I
which
saw it.
is not peer reviewed.
I saw it on John Hopkins' website, in
Yeah,
fact.
but they say 2 to 3 days on stainless steel and plastic.
Yeah, it was like
That was
3
at
days
a
on
specific
cardboard.
temperature range also.
Longer.
That's right, very
Yeah,
specific
it's
temperature range.
ridiculous.
It's porous.
So if they're working at a warehouse, look how many people touch something.
Yeah.
The first
Paragraph,
place you can go is a grocery store.
where are we? Paragraph 4.
In the money.
For our community's critical infrastructure, which includes communications, emergency services, energy, transportation systems, and water and wastewater systems are instructed by this order to continue operating and encouraged to implement screening precautions to protect employees. Grocery stores, supermarkets, warehouse stores, hospitals, and medical facilities are experiencing high levels of demand for a large number of products, requiring more deliveries from manufacturers and distribution centers to serve their customers. A number of Texas cities and local associations have implemented restrictions on delivery hours to stores to mitigate truck noise and traffic. Due to the need to deliver products as quickly and efficiently as possible during this critical time frame, this order hereby suspends all delivery hour restrictions for transport to or from any entity involved in the selling or distribution of food products, medicine, or medical supplies in Dallas County for the next 60 days.
City of Duncanville.
City of Duncanville.
Yeah.
But some of the grocery stores are already doing that. I'm not sure if one in Duncanville is allowing that. And they're opened up.
This one
early.
came straight from Jenkins because of the problem. Some cities, we don't have any time.
I don't think we have any time
We don't have
restrictions
it.
on deliveries, no.
No.
So that, all that's doing is, that's just, so some cities do, and this is just saying, waiving those requirements.
Right.
So allowing the stores to replenish when they need
When a
to.
truck is ready to go, just bring it in.
Well, no, what I was gonna add, some of the stores are allowing seniors to go in 30 minutes before.
That's a totally
opening.
different thing. We're
No,
not there.
I know it's totally different, that's what I'm saying. That's something we can put in here as a suggestion
So,
to them.
so I would just comment on, I would comment on that. There was a discussion about that on the conference call before.
Okay?
And Judge Jenkins did not feel that that was necessary yet. And
HEB is not doing it.
Pardon?
HEB is
Well, we don't
not
have an
doing it.
HEB, but.
I know, but
Yeah.
Not
they're
doing
big.
it.
But I think,
They're big.
it's your all's call, but I think that's something that should be left to the private business to decide.
I agree with that.
Well, I agree with you, but I'll go back to tell you, yes, it is happening here. It happens at Winco. When I see seniors in there crying because they couldn't get something needed from that store. So, yes.
That's not the purpose of the restriction. The
No,
purpose of
no,
the
no, no,
restriction
I'm
is
just
to
I'm
limit
just
the
going
number
back,
of
I'm just
people the
going back.
seniors are
Jerry,
exposed to.
Just going back to what I said when you said it's not happening. I said, yes, it is happening here when it comes to seniors. To the point of, I know what Kevin just mentioned, that he recommended we don't do that portion of it, it should be the store. But yes, that is happening here when seniors are going to Winco.
I understand, but as I said, that time restriction is not based on the accessibility to goods.
No, that's what I said, this has something, my comment has something to do with what this said. I was
I
giving you
know,
some
my
additional.
comment has to do with everything you're saying.
No, you're saying the truck being able to
No,
bring
I'm
goods.
off of that.
Okay.
You're talking about having hours for seniors to go shopping. And the reason that is being done by some cities is because they just want seniors to be not exposed to more people. Has nothing to do with accessibility of goods.
I think we should have had dinner tonight, just saying. Here's some grumpiness.
Still a little bit of both. Well, go ahead, still a little bit of both.
You just
We
don't have
can't,
any
that would
Snickers.
be
I understand.
dining in, we can't do that, so.
We could have Subway and help the business,
Take it out.
drive-through. You could put them 6 feet apart, sandwiches.
All right, let's
On
get
that
it.
number
All right.
I'm
5.
hungry.
All right, paragraph 6.
We
On
just don't
number,
have
on
any
number 5.
Snickers.
Yes.
All right, do we want to do 60 days or we want to keep it consistent with 20 days?
You know, the
Order.
Snickers make you look ugly if you don't.
I don't have a problem with 60 days because of the long-term
Yeah,
effect.
you
Even
Snickers, you look
if the
regular.
virus is contained, the waiving of these restrictions still allows for the
stores
frequent
cooperate.
restocking of stores
Okay.
for the long term. I'm okay with 60 days. Y'all okay with that? Okay, all right. If someone in a household is tested positive for coronavirus, the household is ordered to isolate at home. Members of the household cannot go to work, school, or any other community function.
Should change, if someone in a household has tested positive for coronavirus, all members of the household are
Yeah, I was
ordered
looking
to
at that first
isolate.
paragraph to say members somewhere. Shouldn't have something to do with people.
All members of, yes.
Kind of be
Shall
locked
it say-
down, all
Does it
members,
say
right?
a time frame?
Yeah,
Does it say 14 days?
All
I'm
members.
sorry?
Does it say 14 days?
No,
There's
there's
not
not.
a time frame, and should it be, isn't the recommendation right now?
They need to be at home. The contagiousness of the virus is 2 to 14 days. So even if you passed your fever, you're still contagious until day 14.
So is it 14 days after all symptoms has?
No, 14 days from the,
14 days.
on the onset of symptoms. So 14 days from when you become symptomatic, day 14 is, you should be clear, be able to go back to your normal daily activity.
And everybody
So
around
how do
you.
you recommend
And everybody
that
around you.
timeline
The-
being worded?
The Dallas County order does not specify a timeframe. This wording is directly from the county order. I think if we start trying to get too specific, we have no way to enforce it.
anyway.
We have no
That's
way
true.
to monitor it or enforce it.
Right, true, very true.
Just don't make the correction and just move on.
Yeah.
That's
Or
my
say,
recommendation.
or add something, say, isolate at home in accordance with CDC directions.
Recommendation.
Or mandates, like, in accordance with CDC mandates.
They have not mandated.
Recommendations.
In accordance with CDC recommendations.
Yes.
How are those people supposed to receive sustenance? I mean, grocery
Call
delivery?
Delivery.
Kroger's
Yeah, there's
delivery.
There's grocery delivery, and there are, they're putting together volunteer services all over the place for younger, healthy people to go deliver groceries.
You need to be careful with that now, because they're coming out saying that younger people are
I know.
almost, they're getting it at the same rate. And what was it?
Yes, you got it.
I have all members of the household is ordered to isolate at home in accordance with CDC recommendations.
Yes, except that now all members of the household are instead of is.
Okay.
So if someone in the household is tested positive for coronavirus, take out the, all members of, oh, there it is, okay. All members of
With the-
the household are ordered to isolate at home in accordance with CDC recommendations.
Got it.
Okay. 7, nursing homes, retirement and long-term care facilities are instructed by this order to prohibit non-essential visitors from accessing their facilities unless to provide critical assistance for end-of-life visitation. 8, public
I'm
and
sorry.
private.
What?
Huh?
I'm sorry to interrupt again. Number 6, instead of cannot, shall not. I don't like using cannot.
Shall not.
Yeah, you're right.
That's just lawyer stuff, but it's okay. Shall not.
Yeah.
Interesting sidebar on that. In the governor's order today,
Yes.
his 4 points say shall not. When he was commenting to a reporter who asked a question, he used the word prohibit. Quote unquote, I took it right down as he was saying it. They are prohibited from meeting. So when he says shall, in his mind, shall is synonymous with prohibit, or shall not. Listen to it.
Well,
Thou
that's-
shalt not.
Well,
You
shall
are
is-
prohibited.
Shall means.
Shall means,
Commit.
shall is must.
Adultery.
Yeah,
That's-
should is recommended, is encouraged, but yeah.
That's prohibited, means it's prohibited.
I know, I'm just saying, in his order, he doesn't use the word prohibit, he says shall not, which is lawyerese for, you can't do that. I'm just, I said I was chasing a rabbit, anyway. So shall
Kill it,
not,
Brandon, come on.
members of the household shall not go to work, school, or any other community function. Right, Shelby?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we did 7, you okay with 7?
Hold on.
Yes.
This came straight from the county?
Well, most of the language did. I mean, we modified some of it, but a lot of this
Yes,
is
that's
from the
fine.
county. All of these provisions now are.
Let people come in whether they are.
So this other one's going to be taken temporarily. This one.
You know,
That
Methodist
was the
Trump-
original county.
Methodist
law.
Trump has a hospice.
Well, they address
That's not us,
that.
No, they don't.
Critical
Nursing homes,
assistance or
retirement
end-of-life
But that's not us.
visitation. That's what it is.
Well, so do you want to, well, first off, nursing homes,
That's the
retirement
South.
facilities,
But that's that.
retirement homes, and long-term care facilities. No, we can't just put retirement. So homes or facilities?
Long-term care facilities, nursing homes, or retirement. Sounds inclusive to me of a,
retirement homes,
Retirement homes
Well-
or retirement facilities. It
retirement.
doesn't make sense to just
Senior
say
citizen.
nursing homes, retirement,
Retirement
comma,
homes.
and long-term care facilities.
So for, let's say retirement homes for consistency.
Yes.
So my comment about Methodist Charlton having a hospice, does that come under a long-term care facility despite the fact that it's actually in Methodist Charlton?
well, yeah. Because I bet you it's a
Or do
different
we add,
corporation.
or do we add hospital?
You don't have hospital, because that's Dallas. And we don't have a hospital, we don't have a hospital in
But I bet you
Well,
it's a
that's right,
different
Methodist
corporation.
Charles.
Dallas. So I'll keep telling you,
Dallas is
that's Dallas.
It's a medical.
Let them do it.
Never mind, that's Dallas' problem.
We do have hospice,
Look, I'm telling you, it's Dallas.
but usually those are different corporations than hospitals.
Or
I
at
mean, you
home,
can-
or at homes.
If you want to, you can
Separately
include
facilities.
end-of-life care facilities.
But, you know, just-
In
Hey,
addition
wait
to
a
it,
minute,
if you think-
wait a minute now, you're right. There are people in hospice care at home. They die in their home.
Yeah,
I've been there.
yeah, they do.
This doesn't say
They
that.
choose to.
Right.
Even residences must be included in this.
Well, you're not gonna visit them if you live with them.
No, the intent of this, though, is again to control the spread. If they're in their home, they're not infecting other other residents of the nursing home or the
They're not institutions
The retirement.
that are gonna.
In addition,
This is for,
Let me take it, read it as it is. Prohibit essential visitors. My daughter-in-law's father
It's not essential.
died in his home, and we were flooded. He was a firefighter. The house was flooded with guests.
yes, but how is that any different than if a bunch of people come to your house now to visit you, or over the course of a couple of days come to visit you at your house?
The differentiation here is this particular paragraph is talking about visiting people that are sick.
But not sick with COVID-19. It's the intent of this, of paragraph 7, is to prevent someone who potentially could have COVID-19 coming into a facility where you have a lot of high-risk people that now could spread throughout that group. If you've got one residence,
What do you
you're
think all
gonna,
those people were?
huh?
All those people that came to visit that dying firefighter are all high risk.
That's your all's call. I think you're getting,
Yeah, I think-
you're starting to now regulate private residences.
I'm just saying.
And-
They're not gonna-
Ask you
they're
that.
not gonna
Yeah,
care
I
about
think-
that.
I think this is in response
I
to what
was
happened
sorry, I
in
was not
Washington.
listening to the first part. I was doing
It
this.
is.
Yeah, because I
I think
asked
we
you
do
that
that
over
here.
here.
No, I don't think you should be
When
regulating.
you have, we have people in town who regularly have big, I don't know what they're doing, but they have big, like lots of cars and a lot of
But
people.
they can't do that anyways, because that would be considered a.
Well, community gathering, right, I mean, it still falls under
Recreational
the.
gathering.
But that's what I said, are we gonna go to
That's
people's houses? Because
Not
the first
inside
part
the
was-
house, no. That part of recreational gatherings was outside activities is what it said. We don't know what goes on inside a house, and you've got multiple rooms.
That's what I'm saying.
So we
Several
can't
ways.
regulate that. But what we're talking about now is trying to regulate in-house, in-residence hospice. And that is not what the intent of that paragraph is for. The intent is to provide, is to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in a population that is already high risk, where you have more. But when you have one person in a home, you're not gonna spread it to other people in that home, generally, or there's not a multiple seniors living, well, anyway.
How do you think I'm listening to you?
You're right.
That's going
And there
on.
are several nursing homes that even if it's your spouse, they don't want you there. You're not letting you in.
And I think, again, I think if someone's at home in hospice, they're gonna limit who comes to see them.
Yeah, it's up to you.
But I think it's up to them to do that. And again, it's gonna go back to, how are we going to enforce it or know it anyway? We don't have that information.
So if you had a residence with 50 cars outside, you wouldn't do anything?
That's
Well,
not what we're talking about
I think
here.
that would fall under the
Gathering, so.
gathering.
Yeah, if
So,
there's
yes,
a-
I think absolutely if some young
They're probably
people
gonna be
that don't
outside
care
in the
about this
backyard and we're gonna
are
hear
having
a
huge party in a house, yes, that's gonna violate the recreational gathering.
Okay, well, that's what I.
But I think that when it comes to hospice at a resident, at a residence, you know, I think that even if we put that in there, arguably would still fall under this exception for end-of-life visitation because the essence of hospice care is that
Exactly.
it's in that realm of end-of-life care. So I'm not sure if even adding that in.
Wouldn't matter,
Right,
that's true,
wouldn't
yeah, because it's
matter.
end-of-life visitation if you're in hospice.
So take out the whole thing?
No, just not try to add in the in-house hospice under
Right.
long-term
Leave
care.
it like
Yeah, there's a hospice
like this
facility
Yeah,
in
leave
the
it.
city,
I mean, you can't do it.
absolutely.
Let's just.
All right, I'll acquiesce. Paragraph 8. We changed to retirement homes in there though, right?
Yes.
All right. Public and private schools and institutions of higher education are instructed by this order to provide a safety plan to Dallas County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management 72 hours before students return to a classroom setting. That's out of our hands, it's okay. Additionally, City of Duncanville, the Office of Dallas County Judge and the Dallas County Health Authority instruct, singular,
No, plural, instructs employees.
no,
No,
no.
it's singular.
You have multiple subjects.
Oh, okay, I see. Instruct.
Instruct all employees to remain at home if sick. Employees of private businesses and nonprofits with 6 or more employees in the county of Dallas. Should that be City of Duncanville then?
Yes.
Take out City
Well,
of,
wait a minute. I'm not sure of that because I think the county order says 6 or more employees in the city of Dallas can use their paid sick leave. But didn't Dallas pass something about that, with requiring businesses to provide sick leave?
14.
We do not have
We don't
that.
have that ordinance.
I think that should be struck, that sentence.
That's my understanding.
Yes.
In the cities with over 48,000?
No, that's a city-specific ordinance that some cities are passing now, but we don't.
So the whole sentence is
It's
all-
the- it's the required
Take
paid
out
leave.
number 9.
no.
No, just the second, the last
Oh,
sentence.
okay, yes.
Employees,
Oh, I got you. I got
Just the
you.
second
Employees,
sentence.
Got you.
Okay, the second sentence is gone, Crystal.
Done.
10. This order shall be effective until 11 a.m. on April 8th. Or until it is either rescinded, superseded, or amended pursuant to applicable law. The City of Duncanville must promptly provide copies of this order by posting on the website, on the city website,
Yes.
and city. In addition, the owner, manager, or operator of any facility that is likely to be impacted by this order is strongly encouraged to post a copy of this order on site and to provide a copy to any member of the public asking for a copy if any subsection, sentence, clause, phrase, or word of this order, or any application of it to any person, structure, gathering, or circumstance is held to be invalid or unconstitutional by a decision of a court of competent jurisdiction, that such decision will not affect the validity of the remaining portions or applications of this order. It is so ordered, Barry L. Gordon, Mayor, Duncanville, Texas. Good work, people.
Make a motion.
We're not there yet.
Getting there.
A couple more.
Getting closer.
No, the next 2 pages are just the the Dallas County Health and Human Services guidelines. So this
Yeah.
is their guidelines that we just attached.
That's cut and paste on the last 2 pages. Yes,
You want me to add a signature line for that too, right?
yes, give me room to sign it.
Does he sign the order too?
Sorry?
He signs the order? Because I know Dallas County Judge
Yes.
did not, but it is what it
I think we're just getting them before he signs them. They're sending them to us without his signature.
is. Sending us, well, maybe.
Okay, this is the amended order. We've done the
So we don't have to follow
Never done
it.
that.
extension.
Declaration.
I don't have to write, we don't have to publish another declaration, do we?
No.
So, just for clarification, so the motion would be to approve the declaration and the public health order, correct?
Pass the
That's
resolution.
what it says on there. It's the resolution extending the declaration and the
And
amended
then
order.
amending this.
That work? Right, so what we're doing with this resolution 2020-026 we are extending the dates of this declaration
With the amended order.
with the amended order that was issued the 13th of March. So we don't have to issue a new declaration, only this resolution carries that.
Well, you're also amending the order, that's what
And
you
the
just
order,
went
right.
through, the amended order that'll be issued March 19th, 2020.
Right. Okay? So, if I'm okay with that, I will now entertain a motion to approve
Yes.
Resolution 2020-026.
Move to approve everything else they.
Second.
We have a motion by,
With amended,
with amended,
Second.
with edited changes and with edited changes, right? We have a, Patrick was the motion, and who's the second?
Second here.
Mark was the second.
Raise hands.
Huh?
raise
Raise
hand.
hands.
Oh, okay, all in favor, please raise a hand. Seeing none opposed, unanimously passed. Okay.
When you finish your list, I have one thing to add to you for consideration. When you finish going down your list, I have one other thing to add to you for consideration.
And
When you finish your list, I have one other thing I'd like to add to it in reference to this.
What list?
When you
This
finish, are you done? Are you done?
Are you gonna talk about this?
Yes, yes.
We just voted on it.
Yes, but I mean, it is still with the virus.
What?
Let me just go and talk about it. You make it too difficult. Okay, so the other thing I looked at is that we are being very proactive in what we're doing here, which is great. And I thought about this because a lot of cities, and then I looked up Dallas, and Dallas was doing this as well. So let me just tell you what what they're doing as well. They came up with 2 new city council committees. One of the committees is an ad hoc committee for economic recovery and assistance, and an ad hoc committee for human and social recovery of assistance. So what that is saying to me is they are extending their hand out to businesses to meet with them, to work through any other issues that they may have because of this as a recovery for their city. I think that's something we should probably need to look into, or look and see what they're doing to see how we help our businesses in our own city as well.
That's a separate agenda item.
Okay.
That is off the agenda.
Uh,
That's why I was questioning.
Well,
Mark,
that's what I'm
where
saying,
you
it's not
going.
off the agenda because it goes
Well,
right back
it
to.
does not have to do with the emergency though.
Right.
Okay.
It's
That's what
not
I'm
an
saying,
emergency
you're off.
issue. It's just like the resolution on the voting is not an emergency issue, so you
Okay,
can
I'll
talk
re-
about it, but you can't. yeah.
All right, I'll add
So
it
how do we-
to the agenda.
How do we,
Because we
how do
need to
we
do that.
put that somewhere where we can talk
At
about
some
it?
It's
point,
gonna be an
at
agenda
some
item.
point in time,
The
he may
next-
ask that become an agenda item. Now, we have to consider what we're talking about in terms of our future meetings. We're only gonna be talking about essential stuff. That's not essential stuff to this city.
It really is.
I think it is.
It really is.
We got.
Where are you gonna get an ad hoc committee? Who's gonna be on the ad hoc?
The city council.
Now we're talking, never, I
right, we'll wait for that.
cannot allow this
Okay,
conversation
that's
to
fine.
continue.
Well, you was asking questions, I'll answer.
So
I can't, okay, I have to stop the conversation. It's gonna get put on an agenda item, and we'll talk about it then. Sometime in the future, okay. So,
So do we
Where's
ask-
Mayor?
do we ask her?
What a sandwich.
We don't have to ask. We're gonna be doing that. We're gonna be doing that as staff reaching out, absolutely. Mayor, did you want to also mention about communications and potential cases here in Duncanville?
yeah. First thing that everybody is telling us, telling the world, is that cases are going to happen. And we certainly will eventually have a case here in Duncanville. But the way it works is that where that person is tested, whether it's by a private physician or whether it's by a state testing facility, those results don't get communicated to Kevin or me. They get communicated to Dr. Wang with the county. When the county decides to let us know, they'll let us know. We will not know in advance. We will know when Jenkins either calls me or calls
You
Kevin.
won't call us. It'll be in a press release
That's what I'm
15
saying.
minutes before you
Doubtful
release
that
it.
they're not making calls because they're too busy. So we are end up, unfortunately, gonna know that we have a case in the city of Duncanville when the county judge publishes a press release with new cases.
It happened to Cedar Hill today.
Right, and that is all we will know.
Yeah.
We may not even,
names, no nothing.
EMS may
We can
know an
have one
address,
now.
but may
We
not.
just haven't called.
Right.
Exactly,
That's right.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's on
So,
You have privacy.
yeah.
That's right, it's
So-
all about
And you
health. pri-
should.
It's all about privacy, and that is exactly
Uh-huh.
correct.
It's
Yes,
HIPAA to the nth degree.
Right, that's right.
Okay, so if you see a press release and it hits, and we got a case in Duncanville, just know that that's how it worked. None of us got advance notice, we're learning at the same time. Okay,
And we will have.
and we're gonna have it. Regrettably, unfortunately. Okay, with that, time is 8:30.
Five.
I'm 6, okay, I'll call you whatever you like. 8:35, we are adjourned. Thank you for your hard work, everybody. Appreciate it.